Hello and welcome to another episode of Vimoh Live. This is a podcast or slash live stream that happens every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. and Saturday at 9:30 p.m. Today is Saturday, October 9:31 p.m. for some reason. Am I late? Was the music going on for too long? Who knows? And who cares? There are people here right now. So you are either one of them. You're either watching this live on YouTube at youtube.com/Vimo Live or on twitch.tv/Vimo Live. And if you are not listening to it right now live, then you are probably listening to it at a later point of time in the form of audio on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Ghana.com, Geo7, etc. If you're doing that, first of all, thank you. Secondly, if there is a way for you to leave a rating or a review for the show, please do so. I would really appreciate it. That is how podcasts find new audience members. And I have another announcement to make, which is that in the near future, I am going to need even more help from you to spread the word about this podcast because today I deleted my Facebook account, partly because I was not using it much, and partly because Facebook is a garbage platform anyway. You know why? You know why people say that? It's hand in glove with the ruling dispensation. It hides messages that do not suit the government, and it uh, amplifies messages that hate speech givers spread, and it even calls hate speech when people post against hate speech. So I don't think I want to be in Facebook. My Instagram account has been threatened with deletion a couple of times. I don't know how long it will remain. So I'm reducing my engagement on Instagram, not because I don't have anything to say, but because I'm afraid that if I post, what do I write about? I write about atheism, I write about caste, these stuff. I'm afraid that if I write one more thing and somebody tags it as hate speech, and Instagram's AI in its great wisdom decides that it is hate speech despite the fact that actual hate speech goes unpunished on that platform, then my entire account will disappear, and at least 2 years worth of content will no longer be accessible to people who only know me on Instagram. So I'm reducing usage on Instagram, and this is why I am going to need you to help me spread the word about this profile, about this show now. I would love it if you can always, whenever you watch the show, whenever it is live, or even if you're watching at a later point of time, share it in your Instagram stories, on your Twitter, on your Facebook, etc., because I can no longer do so. So thanks in advance and welcome to your new job as my unpaid promoters. And before I start anything else, there's a link pinned to the chat. If you click on the link, you can come on screen and we can talk about stuff. I think Battler is waiting, but before that, let me just look at a few comments. Uh, Mr. Nobody says hello, hello. A lot of people have said hello. Anonymous says ह्यूमन विद साइंस की लास्ट स्ट्रीम है आज, वो व्यूअर्स को कट्टरवादी बर्ताव से, व्यूअर्स के कट्टरवादी बर्ताव से दुखी है। मैं वही देख रहा था अभी, पर मुझे नहीं लगता वो व्यूअर्स की बात कर रहे थे नेसेसरीली। वो कुछ लोगों की बात कर रहे थे और उनका प्रॉब्लम, आई थिंक आई एम अवेयर ऑफ व्हाट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट, नॉट द डिटेल्स बट द थीम दैट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इज गेट कीपिंग। मैं मार्जिनलाइज्ड कम्युनिटी के लोगों को ब्लेम नहीं करता जब उनके मन में विश्वास नहीं होता अपर कास्ट लोगों के लिए, जब अपर कास्ट लोग एंटी कास्ट एक्टिविज्म में उतरते हैं। ह्यूमन विद साइंस का पॉइंट यह है कि हमें ज़्यादा लोगों को अंदर लेना होगा मूवमेंट के, ताकि मूवमेंट ज़्यादा इफ़ेक्टिव बन सके। और वो शायद इसी परिप्रेक्ष्य में किसी की बात कर रहे थे। आई हैव नो क्लू हू ही वाज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट और व्हाट ही वाज़ टॉकिंग अबाउट, बट मैंने अभी जो पहला आधा घंटा उनका स्ट्रीम का देखा, मुझे यही समझ में आया। एंड आई थिंक देयर आर थिंग्स दैट I don't think I can comment about it because I'm not privy to all the details. But yeah, Sumana says, ordered 3 t-shirts from merch, 2 for me and 1 for my husband. Great, Sumana. Thank you so much. Sumana is actually talking about my merch store. It is at kadakmerch.com/vimolive, where you can buy t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs. kadakmerch.com/vimolive. Please check it out if you have time. It's one of the ways you can support this show. Uh, कहाँ गया कहाँ गया? Hmm. Shri Harsha says, would like to request you for a video series on different ideologies like Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Sankhya, Charvak, etc., and why they aren't rational. I don't know if I'm going to go into that because I would rather talk to people about what they believe. If ever I get to a point where I'm having actual conversation with topical experts, maybe I'll make such videos. And even so, like, I'm neither saying no nor am I saying yes. I'm saying I make no promises. But yeah, we shall see where that goes. mm. Mohammad Sami says be on LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn. That's not going anywhere. It's my resume. Shreya says, hello, Emma. Welcome to our podcast, Communist Music Intensive. Welcome to our podcast. In Soviet Russia, you don't visit my channel, you visit your own channel. Kavan says, I will go to various Babaji's live streams and say, hey, have you heard of Vimoh? Uno reverse card. Arey yaar, be careful about gathering the wrong kind of audience because that's also a problem. But yeah, let me get to Battler. Hi, Battler.
Hey, hi. How are
Hi,
you
what's
doing,
up?
Vimoh?
Good, good. What's
Nothing,
up?
nothing. Nothing. Just wanted to pop in, just to ask one question about something that intrigued me in your last stream where you and I think the guy who was studying to be a doctor, that J person or something, you're just sort of laughing at the cow science that is going on over here. And
Ha, ha.
I don't want to poke too much fun actually. I just, it's just something that's very intriguing. Like, I've been around, when I was also a sort of Hindutva supporter in my engineering
Hmm,
days. I
hmm.
also sort of kind of stuff that they would keep on talking about. And I mean, of all the things that I talked about, even this stuff, like you have to eat, like, cow dung and drinking cow urine. That's one thing I at least felt even the most hardcore people are like, hey, maybe, you should stop doing that. Should not
Yeah,
go too deeply into that. I mean, I
yeah.
didn't think that this was
No, it's
something
not
that
really
even,
about. I don't think it's essentially about people who do it. I think it's more about people who support it even when they find it disgusting.
yeah, that's the thing. I never thought that
Yeah.
this was that's something that was so supported in comparison to Ayurveda or what do you call it, or yoga or
Hmm.
anything like that. And there are
Hmm.
problems with how they support that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Can you explain why exactly do you think they're putting so much money and effort into validating this aspect that cow urine can like the cow shit gold or cow urine can cure cancer or something like that
It's a
instead of
distraction, isn't it? If they are going to change the fundamental nature of our democracy's fabric, the fundamental
hmm,
fabric of our society in such a significant way, they're going to
hmm,
need really, really, really serious distractions. And this serves as an interesting distraction because A, the people who do believe in it were until now maybe embarrassed to talk about it. Now they have a free pass, they can do it. B, liberals find it hilarious, so they will make memes and jokes about it, which will take away half their time. And C,
okay,
that the places where they do intend to bring about changes that that support their ideology, like in legalizing discrimination and all that, there will be less
hmm,
attention on it. So they want to,
okay,
they can't tell the liberal crowd, and I this is primarily for the liberal crowd, this whole cow dung thing. It is so that
really,
they outrage about it.
okay,
It's a
that's the reason
it's a
why.
that's what I think. I mean, I could be
It's
wrong,
kind of
obviously.
strange. That's kind of
It's
strange, because I
they
mean,
create a distraction so that we all outrage about it, and they don't do
yeah,
anything about it. So we think when we do this, we are dissenting, right? When our dissent should
okay,
actually be focused in more serious places, and when we do that, we get punished. So we say, yeah. So
hmm.
if I am a liberal and I want to show that I'm against this government, I'll make jokes about cow dung and cow urine. Ho gaya mera. I have dissented.
That's like a very strong 200 IQ player. And
Yeah.
that's. I mean, that's just devious enough that something the top guys will come up with. But still,
Yeah.
to the extent that you're even going to make a mockery of, like India on a global stage, you're going to promote stuff like this. I mean, at least you should try to create sound waves and levitate rocks. Really, that's cool stuff in comparison to searching for gold in cow dung or saying that foreign cows
No,
are
it's
our
like
aunties and desi cows are our moms.
it's like even a person who smokes 10 cigarettes a day knows that it is bad for them, but they don't think of it as poison because it's not going to immediately kill them. So if they make promises that they have to immediately show work, then
Okay.
they can't do it. But research is happening into dung is a thing that they can repeatedly say in speeches
Yeah.
and expect people to wait for the results. So it's
Yeah.
a longer
Yeah.
term play.
The strange thing is that if you look at some of the states in North India where the cow politics are the most strong, like you look at Haryana, almost only
Yeah.
I think of the cattle population, only 30% are actual cows. The rest
Hmm.
are buffaloes because most farmers shift towards buffaloes. You can slaughter them and get a quick payout. So
Hmm.
indirectly, I mean, I don't know. They're sort of decreasing the population of cows by all this politics. Those places
Yeah.
that allow slaughter like Kerala, West Bengal, you can look at the statistics. They have more cows than this. So
Yeah.
strange things are happening over
Actually,
here. Yeah.
Osin has pointed out an interesting thing, which is disgusting acts equal loyalty test. You know how the Nigerian spammers always add many typos in their emails? You know
They
the
do. Actually,
spam
I know
messages
Rishi
about.
don't. I don't know.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they send messages with a lot of typos in them, and the reason behind that is that the people who are not going to fall for the scam will just look at those typos and reject the email. But people who look
Hmm.
at those typos and still think this is a legit email, they are probably going to be easier to sway. So that is why they
Okay.
deliberately make their emails look very stupid because they want to use a filter of some sort. So this
Okay.
disgusting acts equal loyalty test is like that only. If we can convince someone to drink urine, we can convince him to do anything. Maybe that
That's
is
true.
also
That's
something to
true.
think about. Yeah.
That's true. Anyways, we'll see. Anyways, let's see. I think in another 20 years, we'll see what the effect of this cow politics really has. But anyways,
I think
thanks.
it'll.
So, what actually, just one
Yeah.
more thing. So, human with science is leaving, or is it science journey? Which one is
Not
leaving?
science journey, human with science.
Okay, human with science. Actually, I've not
Yeah.
kept in touch with his
His
stream.
very
So, it's
last live stream is actually happening right now.
okay. Okay, I'll check it out
Yeah.
later on because it's maybe
Cool,
one time
cool,
I'll
cool.
allocate 7 hours and watch it. Thanks. Thanks for your time.
Cool.
That's really
Thanks.
something that's
Bye.
bothering me. I was wondering why you're focusing so much on this. Thanks.
Yeah. Chalo, bye bye.
Bye.
So that was Battler. Now we have someone called Skeptic, whose name originally was Free Books for All, and they have changed it. Hi, Skeptic.
Hello,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Okay, so I'm from Bangladesh. Hello.
Okay. Hello.
So that day I was, watching a video. So one guy was pointing out a theistic argument. So I would like to, ask you that.
Hmm. Are you presenting this argument or are you presenting someone else's argument?
Somebody else's argument.
Are
Like,
you an atheist?
uh, I'm actually like searching for a
Sorry?
position. I'm searching for a position. That's
Acha,
all.
okay. So what is your position right now?
I don't know actually.
Okay,
Like
cool.
I'm
Go on,
exploring.
go on. It's okay, go on.
Okay, so uh, So that guy was saying something like, say somebody tells you that, um, how do you know that the number five exists? So how would you reply to that?
The number five is a descriptor, right?
Okay.
Yeah. It's an
So
abstraction. It's an abstraction that is useful to us. It's like a word, right? The apple is a fruit. The word apple is something that we invented to point at that fruit so that we understand what we are talking about.
okay, so say
Yeah.
somebody. So there is this thing in mathematics called complex numbers.
Hmm.
So if I say briefly, say for example, there's this number called four. So what is the
Hmm.
square root of four? It is two, right?
Hmm.
So what is the square root of 1? It is 1. Square root of 0 is 0. So if somebody comes and asks you that what is the square root of minus 1,
Hmm.
we don't really have any real answer to that. Any
Hmm.
number's square root won't give you
Hmm.
minus 1. Like
Hmm.
when you square root of minus 1, you don't really get an answer. So what
Is the
mathematicians did,
square root
yes,
is minus 1 a real number?
it's considered a real number by
Is
mathematicians, yes.
square root of minus 1 a real number?
Uh, that's where the point is. Like mathematicians consider it uh, as a number that does not exist in the real world, something like that.
Hmm.
So basically, they do not have proof for its existence, but they still consider it to be true. So that guy was trying to say that if complex numbers can exist without their
See,
proof in the real world, yes,
I'm generally speaking not a huge fan of using math as a justification for arguments about existence because you can do all kinds of things in math that you can't do in real life. If someone wants me to think that if someone like this is an argument for God, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So if someone wants me to think that the square root of minus 1 is what is the equivalent of God, then I would have to ask them in what way does the square root of minus 1 affect the real world? because the claims that we hear about God are physical in nature. If someone were to tell me that God only exists in my imagination, I'm totally okay with it. But if someone says that God created the universe, that God has physical ramifications in the physical universe, then I will have to seek physical evidence for it, right? So if
Okay,
someone
so
can show me,
yeah.
if someone can show that a concept in mathematics is considered to be existing, then that is not at all the same as God existing, because the two things are different.
So that guy was basically trying to say that square root of minus one. So yeah, so mathematicians consider it to exist as concepts, but it is actually very useful to think of something like when you consider square root of minus one exists, and when you do maths, it helps you to solve equations and stuff, which helps affects the real world. Like
Right.
all that
So
technology.
I'm happy to accommodate the square root of minus one. I will need to see evidence of how God helps us solve any physical problem. Because you're
So
equating two things, right? You're equating a mathematical quantity that is useful in a theoretical equation, but that is not what we mean when we say God. If you can define God, first of all, the square root of minus one is a specific definable thing, right?
yeah, so people give definition of God as anybody who created us is God. That's how they
That
define
is
God.
not at all, that is not at all a tangible definition that I can work with, because I don't know how to get there. Where is
Uh,
this creator? How did he work? How do we know that this creator exists? You can show me the method using which you got to the square root of minus one, right? Can you show
You
me an
cannot show
equation
square
using
root of
which you
minus
can
one
get
in
to
the
God?
real world. Uh,
Sorry,
like, like he was saying that you cannot show square root of minus one in the real world.
but you can show it in an equation, right?
I mean, yeah. So God's equation is
So at
God
least
created
show
the
me in
world.
an equation. Show me in an equation how you get to God.
Uh, like, I didn't get you. Can you like explain it a bit?
How will you prove that God exists? Like square root of minus one, even if I am to consider it real, you can show me how you get to it. There is a method, right?
You can't really
Isn't there?
show it. Like you just
Okay,
consider
so
it
if
to
you can't
exist.
show see, listen, I'm not a mathematician. I'm
Yes, sir.
assuming that if it's a mathematical quantity, you can get to it using an equation. If you can't even get to it using an equation, then it's pretty much non-existent, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if you consider it to exist, then it helps you to solve all other equations. Although you cannot prove its
Okay,
existence. That's
so
when
I
mathematicians
think
consider it to
this
exist.
would be a better way of putting it.
Yes.
You have a quantity which is square root of minus one, and it is something that you can put in an equation and you can come to conclusions that make sense. Correct?
Yes, yes.
Correct?
Yes, yes, correct.
Okay. So now take God, put God in an equation, and come to a conclusion that makes sense.
Uh, so, like, exact equations I cannot form, but
No, no,
you
I'm
can
not
like
actually asking for a mathematical equation. I'm saying we have seen the natural world right now, right? To the
yes,
best of
yes.
our understanding of the natural world, there is no process that we need God to explain. Absolutely none. Everything makes sense without God. If you add God, things become more complicated. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Yeah.
So I get your point. Like you're saying that
Hmm.
square root of minus, like considering the existence of square root of minus one helps us to solve equations, but considering the existence of God helps us in no way. Is it like that?
If someone wants to equate the two, if someone says square root of minus one cannot be, is not real, but it is still useful, and therefore we should equate it with God, then they should equate it across the board, right? If square root of if the comparison table is like square root of minus one is not real, God is not real. Square root of minus one is useful, God is useful. The useful part needs to be shown. How is it useful?
God gives you like happiness and stuff, purpose of life, you know,
A lot of things
stuff like
people dragons give me happiness, robots, story, science fiction stories, Batman, comic books give me happiness. That does not mean any of it is real.
like higher
If you're
purpose of life. You know,
Sorry?
like God gives people higher purpose of life.
A lot of things give people higher purpose in life. God is not an exclusive solution to that problem.
Okay, so let me ask a relevant question. Do you think
Hmm.
that atheists suffer more from depression than theist people?
Is there any scientific data to support this?
No, no, I'm just asking you, like,
I am an
like,
atheist and I'm reasonably happy. And I know a lot of religious people who are super unhappy. I'm not saying all religious people are unhappy. I'm saying happiness or unhappiness has nothing to do with religion or
like
belief in God.
suicide rates are higher in atheist countries. There was a
Is
case. I'm
is
not
it true? I
supporting it.
don't know if that is true. Where is the data coming
Like
from?
countries like, countries like Japan, countries like America, you know.
That may not be because of religion. It may have multiple reasons behind it. Do you have any data to suggest that atheists commit more self harm than religious people?
Okay, no, I don't actually. Like I was
Yeah.
just, presenting that.
I'll be happy to see that data, by the way. If you have it, maybe you can come back next time and share it and we can talk about it.
Okay, and so if I like conclude it,
Your
what is
last point,
your
huh? Skeptic, I have to go to someone else.
okay? So
Huh.
do you think square root of minus one exists,
I'm
or is
not a
it just our
mathematician.
imagination?
I'm not a mathematician. I'll take your word for it. If you know someone who's a mathematician and he tells me that it exists, then I'll be happy to compare their notes with some other mathematician's notes and then come to a conclusion. But I'm not a mathematician. I don't have the brains to come to that conclusion. So I'll just say I don't know.
Okay, then.
Cool. Thank you,
Uh,
man.
okay, okay.
Thank you. Bye bye. Right. Now I have Priyanshu KR. Hi, Priyanshu.
हाय सर।
हेलो सर मत बोलो.
जो सुबह हुआ उसके लिए सॉरी सर।
क्या हुआ
और
सुबह?
सुबह आपको कुछ कमेंट्स मैंने कर दिए थे बट
अरे चलेगा,
ठीक
कोई
है,
बात
बट
नहीं.
दैट इज
नहीं,
नॉट
नहीं, दैट्स सी द ओनली
इंटेंशन।
रीज़न आई आस्क्ड यू टू कम हियर इज़ बिकॉज़ कमेंट्स में पता है क्या होता है? सो प्रियांशु left a
या
few comments on my main channel and we had a conversation. I asked him to come here because I didn't have time and maybe he thinks I'm rude because of it. I'm sorry Priyanshu if you think that. The reason I said that is because तुम एक चीज़ लिखोगे, मैं एक चीज़ लिखूँगा, the whole thing will take half an hour or more. Here we can sort it out in 15 minutes. That is why. I don't have a lot of time to go through comments every day. That is why this live stream happens. So just get to your point.
Yeah, so my point, I will reiterate my comment.
Hmm.
So in it, I have written, and I quote, I think about me as a child who remained in ignorance about jelly beans or androids in my childhood. For that worldview, I don't need to understand the signal processing, data analysis, and everything which goes with these gadgets.
Hmm.
What I needed to do was to play video games or to chat with my friends. That was my reality. And in
Hmm.
that perspective, I claim that that mobile or that PC is supernatural.
What is the definition of supernatural? Is it something you
So,
don't understand or
yeah,
something that breaks the laws of nature?
how I know that it breaks law of nature or no, not because
No, I'm
at that
saying
time I do.
the definition of the word supernatural. What is it?
It's a relative definition for people.
No, I think it's
If
pretty.
you are
Yeah, I'm
ignorant
sure.
about
Yeah,
it,
yeah. Listen, other different people can have different definitions of it. So Priyanshu ka point, in case anyone missed our conversation previously, is that he thinks that the word supernatural can be used to imply things that we don't know. Correct?
yeah,
Yeah. So that's I think it's a loose use of the word because in the 14th century people did not know that germs existed.
yeah.
Do you think germs are supernatural?
Germs are social construction. You know the
No, no,
social
not social
construction.
construct. Germs are actual thing.
Yeah, social construction is not actual thing, but it is useful,
No, no,
such as
germs are actual
biochemistry.
things, man. Germs
Yeah,
exist. Their
see,
existence can be physically verified. They're not social
see, in
constructs.
many cultures, they feared the wild rabbit dogs, or they preached the snakes or dragons, manifesting them as snakes
Snakes
because people
exist,
know that.
dragons don't. Snakes exist, dragons don't exist. I'm trying to make a
Yeah, but
distinction
people
between
know
things that
that
are real.
the snakes are what they are capable of. They are
No,
venomous,
we have
and
known snakes exist for a long
stop,
time.
hence to stop the society for interacting with those snakes,
Priyanshu,
we
what is
have
your
made
point? What is your point actually? What is it that you're trying to prove?
my point is some social constructions are better For example, snake myths or some social constructions are not that good. So for example, casteism. It is also a social construction. So it's not uh, good because it is not
How
implying
do you?
anything.
I thought you wanted to talk about the definition of supernatural. How did we come to social constructs?
Because supernatural is a relative definition.
No, it is not. The word supernatural means something that breaks the laws of nature or something that is
So
beyond nature.
what is the law of nature for a child, for example?
No, no, for a child, nahi. For a child, there is no concept of anything because a child doesn't know nature even. We talk about supernatural when we have a conception of nature. The
They
child not knowing something does not mean the thing is supernatural. We not knowing something does not mean it is supernatural. If you ever find that our understanding of nature, the things that we know to be true and real, are being violated by something we find, the most common assumption would be okay, it's still natural, but we don't know exactly how. You are
yeah.
talking about something that decidedly, demonstrably breaks the laws of nature. And I don't think it makes any sense to call things supernatural just because we don't understand them. Because, say, calling something supernatural is like giving up. Like, ये तो supernatural है, इसको हम समझ ही नहीं सकते.
No, because it is not giving up. देखो सर, मैं ना चिप्स के साथ काम करता हूँ, मुझे जरूरत
किसके
नहीं है
साथ?
उनके
किसके साथ?
चिप्स आईसीज होते हैं, या फिर
अच्छा.
कंप्यूटर ले लो. कंप्यूटर में मैं नहीं जानता कि अंदर क्या है, उसके अंदर कौन सा माइक्रो प्रोसेसर यूज हो रहा है, कितनी मेमोरी स्टोरेज है और किस तरह से वो डिजाइंड है. हर एक इलेक्ट्रॉन की इंफॉर्मेशन मेरे लिए जरूरत नहीं है.
हाँ, पर किसी ना किसी को तो पता है ना.
किसी
You
को
are
पता है,
working.
किसी को
You
पता है
are you are
उसकी
not you are the work that you're doing. You are not inventing the terms of that work. Somebody did go into it. Somebody did find out about it.
हाँ, तो
Somebody
ये
did find out the natural
दिस इज
laws
माय
that are.
बिलीफ.
Listen,
या
listen, listen. Don't interrupt. Audio gets broken up. Let me
ओके.
finish and then you start. So somebody figured out how electronics work. Somebody made the chips. They passed on that knowledge to you. That knowledge is natural knowledge. It's knowledge about nature. You're not doing anything supernatural there.
So you are believing to the person who has made the chip, and you are believing that his comprehension of mind is way better than yours. And
No, I'm saying that person
yeah.
does not matter. The things that that person discovered, verified, and put across as repeatable knowledge, that is what I'm putting my trust in.
So yeah, we believe in many things.
No, no, we
Yeah.
don't believe in it. We don't believe in it. We verify it, we see that it works, and then we consider it worthy of doing. You are
Uh,
equating belief with things. You're like, there is, I believe that the sun rises in the east with, I believe that God created the universe. They're not the same thing. One I can actually see and verify, the other I cannot.
and I also pointed out that the philosophy of social justice is also based upon a belief that the humans gravitate towards helping each other.
Huh. And you also called it supernatural. Why?
Because there's no logical reason, there's no logical
There is, there is,
reason.
there is. Do you
Okay,
want to know?
there is a reason,
Huh.
and that is known as principle of reciprocity. Other than
No,
impact,
there are evolutionary reasons also. We
no,
can
there is
verify
no
this.
evolutionary reason
Yes, there
which
is.
result
I can
other
tell
than
you, I can tell it to you. Would you like to hear it?
yeah, sure.
So humans are tribal animals. Since the beginning, not cooperating with other human beings has meant death for human beings. So cooperating with other human beings gives people an evolutionary advantage. The same way that claws give an evolutionary advantage to a tiger or a wild animal, or strength gives an advantage to some other animal. Humans will die if they don't cooperate. That is why there is a tendency among human beings to cooperate with each other. There is nothing supernatural about it.
Okay, so you are equating the principle of reciprocity existing in the past to shape that thing gradually towards the present society. In that case, the society itself is a social construction. Don't you think?
You are, I'm not sure why you are saying supernatural in one breath and then going to social construct. Supernatural and social constructs have nothing to do with each other.
They are, because see, supernatural are myths. You agree about that? Myths are
Supernatural, I will repeat for the third time the definition of supernatural, which is that it is something that is beyond nature or breaks the laws of nature as we understand them.
okay. So that's a realist definition, and I am talking about relativist definition. So it won't go anywhere. My last point was, uh, do the atheists have any moral high grounds against radicals from Middle East or tyrants like Stalin, Mao, or slave owners from South, or the
Or ca-
evangelists?
or casteist people from India, right?
Yeah, casteist. I
Yeah,
talked about that
yeah,
also.
yeah. No, I just get really curious when someone's metaphors about tyranny start going west. वो तो यहाँ
Yeah,
काफी है मुझे लगा इसमें
I
और
have
बात कर सकते हैं.
written many
Yeah,
tyrannies
yeah,
about India also.
yeah. So what was the question again?
So what makes atheist having a moral high ground? Are you a casteist?
Atheism has
First
nothing to do
question
with
was,
morality.
are you a casteist? Are you a
What?
casteist? Are
I
you a
don't.
casteist?
Am I a casteist? I
Yes.
think I am a product of a casteist society, and therefore several patterns of behavior in my life may be described as casteist. Yes.
I can
Do I
make a
believe?
case that
Do I believe that
all
caste-based
casteist.
discrimination is a good thing? No.
I can prove that you and I are casteist.
Okay, but that was not the point you started with. You were talking about atheism and moral grounds.
Yeah. So I again, if we and I are
If you
casteist,
asked a
then we
question,
don't
wait
have.
for the answer to it, na.
Yeah, then
Why are
we
you
don't
jumping
have
all
a
over the
moral
place?
ground. Then
Your
we don't
question
have
was
a
about
moral ground, na?
Your
Moral
question
high
was
ground.
about, listen, beta.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
question was about, do atheists have a moral ground? My answer is that atheism has got nothing to do with morality. Atheism is lack of belief in God or gods. So atheists, by someone by the simple merit of being an atheist, is not more moral than a religious person or less moral than a religious person. If you want to compare worldviews and then come to conclusion about whether someone is moral or immoral, there is something called secular humanism, which I do believe to be more moral than any religion that exists.
Humanist philosophies, the Soviets also followed the humanist philosophies, and we saw what horrors befell after that.
What do the Soviets have to do with atheists?
See, the Soviets were working upon the principles which were created after the French Revolution. French Revolution was the first revolution which outlawed religion, and you can see that after the Mao Zedong took over the power,
What
China
does any of
also
this have to do with atheism?
outlawing religion is atheism. Today, where are the most atheists? Most
Outlawing religion is not atheism. Atheism is not believing in God or gods.
Bible.
You realize you can have religions which don't have gods or religious. There can be atheists who don't outlaw religion. There can be atheists who are like, yeah, yeah, you keep your religion in your pants and I'm over here and I'll be okay. You are treating outlawing religion as an integral part of atheism, and it is simply not the case.
Yeah, the what I was talking about is that you and I can be a product of castes, and even we are casted itself. To the
Hmm.
core of this argument is simple: that do we believe in occupational hierarchies?
I'm not sure why you're jumping topics so easily. Like, this
See,
conversation started with
yeah,
supernatural and now we are at occupational hierarchies. Do we believe in occupational hierarchies? Okay, this is the last point we discussed, by the way. I have
yeah.
like 7 people to get to.
Okay.
Describe occupational hierarchies.
What is caste hierarchies?
Describe occupational hierarchies. You mentioned the
I
phrase,
won't
describe what
be
you mean
going
by it.
into see. I won't be going into occupational hierarchies. You should
You're the one who
explain.
brought it up.
See, caste hierarchies and occupational hierarchies. What's the difference?
I'm saying, what do you mean by occupational hierarchies? Describe it.
So, see, I met a person who was engaged in
What do you
manual
mean
labor.
by occupational hierarchies?
I am telling you. See, a
You're telling me
person
you met
was.
a person. Just answer the question.
Yeah, I will be coming to
No, no,
that,
no.
sir.
इतना टाइम नहीं है मेरे पास पूरे
हाँ, तो
प्रवचन के लिए
सर
टाइम
दो
नहीं है.
मिनट
आई एम
लगेगा
ट्राइंग टू
उसमें.
स्ट्रीमलाइन दिस कन्वर्सेशन,
अच्छा
प्रियांशु.
चलो एक चीज बताना. वेस्ट मैनेजर्स जो हैं हमारे जो
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
कंट्री
तुम फिर, आई थिंक यू आर आइदर जस्ट अ ट्रोल हु इज वेस्टिंग माय टाइम, और
ट्रोल
यू हैव टू मच. व्हाट?
ट्रोल क्या होता है सर?
ट्रोल का
What?
डेफिनेशन भी बताओ. देखो तुम्हारा मुझे ट्रोल क्यों लगते हो
नहीं,
पता है?
आप
बिकॉज़
हम
यू आर नॉट
डिफाइन नहीं
स्टिकिंग,
कर पाएंगे
you
ये।
are not sticking to any point, you are jumping all over the place. You start something, you leave it halfway, you jump to something else. That is why I think you're a troll.
इसका मेरे को कोई सेंस समझ में नहीं आया। मैंने सीधा बोला
मुझे
कि
भी
देखो
नहीं आया, तभी
आप
तभी
जो
तुमको ट्रोल बोल रहा हूँ। बट
आपके
एनीवे,
जो
आई हैव
बहुत
हैड एनफ ऑफ दिस, आई एम गोइंग टू मूव
ठीक
ऑन
है
टू द
सर,
नेक्स्ट पर्सन
ठीक है
प्लीज।
सर, ओके
चलो बाय बाय।
सर।
Let me read okay, so there are a bunch of people, I'll get to all of you. Let me read a couple of member comments first. uh Shreya says, because masala is mysterious and hence supernatural. बट तुम जानना चाहो तो जान सकते हो ना, यू डोंट जस्ट अज्यूम कि कंप्यूटर के अंदर सुपर नेचुरल मैजिक चल रहा है। आई थिंक ही वाज जस्ट ट्रोलिंग यार। आई थिंक वाज जस्ट ट्रोलिंग, इट वाज फन बट इट वाज ट्रोलिंग। Manmat says, today while plucking bitter gourds in my orchard, I laid my band on a green crate. I had a transitory supernatural feeling, glad that it did not bite, and I'm here with you all. श्रेया सेज, ऑथोरिटेरियनिज्म एंड एथिज्म अलग अलग चीज़ें हैं, उल्टा रिलीजन लीड्स टू मोर ऑथोरिटेरियनिज्म मोस्टली, हिस्ट्री गवाह है। यस। तरंगा says, Arman, I feel like there is some confusion for this person between atheism and rationalism and ethics and practical ideologies. Hmm. Harsha says, I would like to send this guy a dictionary. I think we should start a dictionary factory. जॉर्डन पीटरसन को एक तो पक्का कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री कॉपी भेजेंगे, उसके बाद दूसरे लोग आएंगे। Right, so the next person I'm going to take on is Ashwin Misra. Ashwin Misra. Hi, Ashwin.
Hello, can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes.
Hi, this is my first time here, and there's so much I want to talk to you about. I've been
You're
listening to
most
your,
welcome.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
waste
I've
any
been
time. Just
listening to.
get to the point.
No, no, no. Oh, yeah, okay, fine. Fine. First thing which I wanted to tell you was that I recently came across this piece of information, and I found it very interesting. I know how you feel about Elon Musk, and
Hmm.
so I thought I'll share it with you. So he keeps claiming that he's losing like around $20 million a month uh, while supporting the Starlink internet in Ukraine.
Hmm.
Now, the what I got to know was that he has like his company has personally donated 5,000 terminals,
Hmm.
and while he has sold around 20,000 terminals to US
Hmm.
and European Union and other parties who have then donated those to Ukraine.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, prima facie, this looks really great that he has given so many terminals free of
Yeah.
cost to
Yeah.
Ukraine. Uh, Now, the normal cost of a single terminal is $600, but
Okay.
the terminals which he gave to US and EU was $1,500 a piece.
Okay.
Uh, Apart from that, the subscription plans, which payment plans which people pay for any Starlink internet, is between $100 to $500 a month.
Hmm. Ashwin, just
Uh,
get to the point. We
yeah,
don't have to do
that's
the
what.
entire bookkeeping for this.
Yeah, the first point was that he has sold the donated Starlink terminals at an inflated rate.
Huh.
Apart from that, the plans, there's something very curious happening with the plans. Now, the donated terminals, they are giving the subscription rate of 100 to 500 only, but the 5,000 terminals which he has, which his company has donated personally, they are running at a subscription of around
This
4,500. Yeah.
Ashwin, don't mind, but this is super boring for me. Get to the point.
Yeah, my point is that he's showing loss by claiming that half of his
So he's a
terminals are.
cheat basically. He's cheating
Yes,
people.
exactly. That's what
Got
I'm
the
trying to
point.
say.
What is the point you're saying? What is your point? That's all you wanted to say?
No, I just thought that this might be an interesting thing for you
Acha.
to know.
Yeah, I have no.
Apart from
It
this,
doesn't surprise me at all.
yeah, apart from this, there's a lot of stuff which I want to talk to you about, but I
Huh.
guess you do not have enough time today.
No, I
So
have
maybe I'll
time,
come
but
back again.
no, I have time. If you want to raise something that is related to the topic of the chat, atheism, religion, etc., feel free to raise it.
I have a question about casteism.
हाँ बोलो.
If you would entertain that right now, I
Sure,
was
sure.
listening to this old podcast of yours
Hmm.
titled "You Don't Need Permission to Resist,"
Yeah,
in
I
which
remember this.
yeah, in which you talked about certain people who were claiming that I forget the name. The Twitter new
सिविलिटी,
Twitter
आई
Twitter
वाज़
CEO.
बेसिकली इट वाज़ अबाउट द सिविलिटी डिस्कोर्स कि तुम लोग प्रोटेस्ट कर सकते हो, पर यहाँ पे करो, इस जंतर-मंतर में करो, सड़कों को मत रोको।
No, no, that's not what this is about. I There's just like one small bit from that. Obviously, you cannot remember everything that you talked
हाँ,
about.
probably.
So
Just
I'll just
remind me
remind
what
you.
you read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So certain people were really proud of the fact that a person from their own caste is now sitting at a very high position in Twitter. I think it was Parag, whatever his
Yeah,
name is. I
yeah,
do
yeah,
not
yeah.
remember.
The
And they feel
NRI head of Twitter, yeah.
right, and they feel that like they felt proud that somebody from their own caste is now sitting at such a high position. Uh, I do not like, I understand that, when marginalized communities see people from their own community going up to powerful positions, they
Yeah,
feel inspired and then they
yeah.
maybe, they feel that
Become
they can
more
also
motivated to
achieve.
pursue goals. Yeah.
Right, yeah, yeah. So, why is this only limited to a marginalized committee? Why is this not an option for someone who comes from let's say, an upper caste background or any other privileged background?
Because they don't need it.
Okay, I mean,
Do you think they need it?
I feel that, see, I understand that upper caste people have a lot of privilege which they don't even know,
Hmm.
and they're so oblivious about it.
Yeah.
But I think after getting a lot of education, they'll understand their position. But
I don't
meanwhile,
think
when they
education will do it because what happens is that upper caste लोगों का problem ये नहीं होता कि they don't understand the problem. They have a few reactions to the problem. One, it's not a problem. They will say it's not a problem. Ow, 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 nerve. Yeah. One, they will say it is not a problem. Two, they will say it is a problem and we will be the ones who solve it. You guys don't know any better. So what they do is that even when in spaces like anti-caste discourse, for example, upper caste people will take up a lot of space, and a significant number of people from the Dalit Bahujan Adivasi quarters actually have this problem that they talk about quite a lot, which is that even the anti-caste initiatives that are undertaken by upper caste people, like you and me, for example, have casteism in them. We will take
right,
up all the important decision making positions, we will decide what is good for them and all that. So the upper caste reaction to a discriminatory society, even when it is pointed in the right direction, sometimes ends up doing more damage than it heals.
right. I think this reminds me of this movie in which a white girl is asking Malcolm X that she comes from a white background. She's really sorry about whatever her ancestors have done, but she asks him, what can she do now? What can the white man do now
Get out of our
to
way.
to make the situation better? And the
Hmm.
reply which Malcolm X gives is nothing, and that's all he says and moves on.
Yeah. There are multiple
Nevertheless,
views
yeah,
on this, by the way. There are multiple views on this. Some people say
sure,
that
sure.
there are people who talk about gatekeeping, who say that if you keep refusing everyone else, then the movement is not going to move forward. There are people who agree with it. I personally can't blame people for being untrustworthy and saying just get out of my way, because generally speaking, I think the only thing that privileged people can do in order to undo the damage that their way of life, their ancestors have done, is just to get out of the way of the people. Give them as many opportunities as possible and get out of the way. Let them do the thing.
Right. But as let's say, a young kid growing up, he's like 13, 14 years old, and he
Hmm.
sees this, and he's
Hmm.
maybe he is unaware of the negative aspects of his caste and whatever past history there is,
Hmm.
and he feels proud about the fact that someone from his caste is at a certain position. Is this person not innocent?
Yeah, they
And
are. They're innocent, but that's cultivated innocence, isn't it? That person has been kept innocent. That person has not been educated by about the history of their caste, the kind of atrocities that have been committed by them, the kind of inhuman conditions that other people have been forced to live in because of the privileges that that person has. So I think
mm,
if a 13-year-old boy has no idea about caste, I would think that the reason again is casteism, because they have been so isolated in their
right,
own caste bubble that they don't understand why this is problematic. And therefore, if, like for example, you seem to be a sensible person, if you want to educate your children one day, I think the I think the goal would be to start them off on an anti-caste uh, information diet as young as possible. You think in America children don't learn about racism at a young age? We
No, they
don't.
do.
यहाँ पे वहाँ पे होता होगा, मतलब
Hmm.
it's kind of inescapable because the skin colors are different and all
Right.
that. They at least learn that at some point of time racism was banned, like owning slavery was banned, right? हमारे यहाँ उतना नहीं होता एजुकेशन सिस्टम में. हमारे यहाँ
Yeah.
तो आधे से
I have
ज़्यादा
a
जो हिस्टोरिकल फिगर्स हैं,
yeah.
we don't even talk about their caste, and I think we
I have
should.
an anecdote regarding this.
Hmm.
When I was a little boy and I used to do anything wrong which my parents would disapprove of,
Hmm.
my mother would use a very casteist slur to tell me that I'm being a bad person. No,
Hmm.
no, for the longest time, I did not know that this is an actual caste of people, and it's a group
Yeah,
of people that I'm totally unaware of. When I
I,
went to
I I
college,
learned those
finally,
things even today. Last In the last 2 years, I have learned at least four words that are casteist insults, and I did not know that before that.
yeah. This keeps happening. Like I'll use a word and somebody will educate me that no, this
Yeah.
is a casteist slur,
By the way,
or I'll
Ashwin,
read
here's a
about it
very good
online.
point. Here's a very good point from Taranga. She says the
Right.
burden of empowering education for privileged persons should not be on the marginalized people in movement spaces, which are for rights and resistance. Privileged people can research their own community. ये एक
Yeah.
इमोशनल
Right.
लेबर होता है, उस जिसके बारे में तरंगा से एक और कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बात कर रहा था आज. बट इमोशनल लेबर of educating someone about how their communities have historically done bad things should not be on the marginalized. Agar if you are an upper caste individual, it is your job to educate yourself and the members of your family about caste awareness.
Right. So
Yeah.
I guess that's it. I have one more thing which I wanted to ask. Since I want to educate myself better when it comes to my own religion and my own caste history, I
Hmm.
wanted to know if there are any authentic sources uh, by which, like, I can, like, I asked this to you yesterday as well on your Instagram when you did an AMA,
Acha.
but I did not get a reply. So I'll just ask you again.
Hmm.
I want a Dvibhashi or a Diglot version of any of these scriptures, which is like an authentic source, if you're aware.
Which scriptures?
Any scripture. I want to like just start reading about,
Okay.
let's say,
So here's the first problem with that. If you look for translations of scriptures, you will find books written by Brahmins which praise those scriptures.
yeah,
If you look for English books about scriptures, you will find books written by upper caste Indians, and the target audience for that book is urban Indians or white people. If you truly want to study this stuff and you want to build an unbiased understanding of it, read commentaries on these scriptures by people who have been at the receiving end of oppression. So I would highly recommend start with books on anti-caste literature. There is a book called Hindu Imperialism by Swami
mm,
something something. I forgot his name. Hold on. Swami Dharmatirth. Hindu Imperialism by
I'll
Swami
try to.
Dharmatirth. Read Annihilation of Caste by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Read Riddles in Hinduism by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I don't think you need more of scriptures. I think you need commentaries on scriptures written by people who are not fans of them.
Could you please repeat the name of the author of Hindu imperialism?
Swami Dharmatirth.
Yeah, I've written it down. Another, like, so obviously this is exactly the issue which I wanted to avoid by asking you for authentic sources.
Hmm.
Now another issue that I might have with this is that, like, obviously I want to be totally unbiased when it comes to understanding all these scriptures. Now I do not
Hmm.
want to lean towards any particular ideology. So if I am reading the scriptures by an oppressed class of people, obviously I'll get their perspective on it, but
Yeah.
I fear that it might be incomplete. Now, I'm not trying to be insensitive. Maybe I'm still being insensitive, but
Incomplete in what sense?
Maybe they just show the negative aspects of it. Maybe they just show whatever.
You have, I would think that if you're an adult and a Brahmin and an upper caste Indian with reasonable amount of privilege, you have already heard enough about their positive aspects, haven't you? You've read
Well,
you've been told mythological stories, you've been told stories about how the Vedas and the Gita are great your whole life, aren't haven't you?
I do not want my arsenal to be incomplete when I go to argue with religious fanatics in my family, and when they show me the positive aspects, which I might be unaware of.
No, my question is, have you not heard enough good things about them so far in your
I
life?
have, I have, I have.
Yeah. So
And
I'm
my
what I'm
point
doing
is,
right now. See, here's the thing. You are at this point in life and you
right.
have only heard good things about this stuff. I'm trying to introduce a little criticism of it. And even in that
Hmm,
criticism, you're looking for unbiased sources. That, my friend, is the influence of caste talking through you. Because
right.
you feel you there is already plenty of positive reinforcement that has happened. The little critical thinking that I'm adding to it, you are thinking that even that has to be unbiased.
No, no,
I've
no.
been through
That
this. I've been through this, by the way. I've been through this. Don't worry about it. But I think you need some extremely critical thought about all this. You need to expose yourself to some extremely critical thought about this before you go back to talking about it with your family.
see, the thing is, I do not uh, fear negative aspects coming out of it regarding my uh, ex religion. I
Hmm.
just feel that when I go to argue with people in my family, I can tell them all these negative aspects, and I know they'll be disregarded because they are not to their taste. They'll
Hmm.
bring in things which were good in that particular text, and then I'll be left flummoxed.
It
I'll be
will
like,
not
okay,
be what they will do is they will try to talk about all this in good terms, right?
hmm,
That does not mean it was good. You
sure,
see
yeah.
the difference.
No, I do not see the
The
difference.
social structures, a social structure is oppressive, suppose, right?
Right.
It treats people inhumanly, it oppresses them, it tells them that they don't have rights, etc. When we talk about it as upper caste Hindus or people from under upper caste Hindu families, we talk about it in terms of, hey, इसमें कुछ अच्छा चीज था. We are
Hmm.
the ones who are actually misreading it. The only way it should be read is as an oppressive system. And that is what these critical texts will do. If you
Okay.
want, you can read a translation of the Bhagavad Gita, you can read a book by Shashi Tharoor, I suppose. They will all tell you very sweet stuff about all this. But I think we are the ones who are wrong about this shit. They are the we are wrong, they are right, they should win. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that critical analysis of scriptures will be incorrect.
Hmm.
I just feel that, and like I obviously understand power structures, and when it comes to uh, marginalized voices, they must be paid heed to.
Hmm.
At the same time, I feel that there might be positive aspects. Now, obviously, this is all because of what has been fed to me by my circles, by my family.
Hmm.
But I just do not want to be unfair when it comes to
Ashwin, that's what I've been
understanding these
telling
things.
you. You will not
Yeah.
be unfair. If
Hmm.
how do you, like, I'll repeat this one more time because I've already said this. How, how are you describing balance?
No, I'm not trying to balance things. I understand uh, where this is coming from.
Your entire lifestyle, everything you have heard about your religion till today has been positive.
Yeah,
You are already in an extremely unbalanced state. You don't
I
need
agree.
more stuff that is doing both sides. You need things
All
that
right.
are extremely critical of this stuff. When you add
All right.
this, even then it will not be a balance. You will still be biased in favor of your religion because our brains work in a different way. It will take consistent exposure to really critical thought about this for a long time before you can start thinking, now I'm in a balanced place, if you ever get there. When you're
Uh,
looking for literature that better helps you understand Hindu scripture, don't look for both side stuff. Look for things that are only critical of it, because the other side has already been fulfilled by your family.
which is why I was looking for an authentic source, an authentic translation, which might be, which does not lean to either side.
Okay, fine. I'll tell you. Penguin publishes a translation of the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
It's there's no commentary in it. It's just a literal translation. It's a small blue
All right.
book. Just look for Bhagavad Gita by Penguin. Maybe you can start there. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll do.
Chalo. Bye bye.
All right. See you again, I hope. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye. So before I move further, I'll just like to thank Vatsal for the $5 super chat. Very much appreciated, Vatsal. I'm sorry I didn't get to it earlier. I was in the middle of conversations. And I would like Milind for the 100 rupee super sticker. Much appreciated, Milind. Really appreciate it. If any one of you wants to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the join button below and becoming a member, or sending a super chat like these fine people have done. Have I missed anyone else? Sumana says, how I see this is we cannot expect marginalized people to explain things to us. Some will and some won't. Our job is to listen when they explain and leave them alone if they don't want to talk. Exactly. It takes emotional labor to go through all that. If you are an oppressed category person, you will like if someone is an oppressed category person, they will feel a lot of trauma when they're going through the stuff that they explain to you, and they don't need you to say, yeah, I understand you went through a lot, but was it really so bad? It's triggering on another level. So when you're talking to people whose conditions you want to understand, please start from a place of empathy where you understand that it is not their job to educate you. It is your कोई तुम्हारी मम्मी नहीं है. It is your job to educate yourself. Talk to each other, talk to other people, learn from whatever content is out there, and build your understanding on top of that. Don't expect the marginalized to do the emotional labor of educating you. And by marginalized, I don't just mean people from marginalized caste. I mean trans people, I mean feminists also. When you're talking about angles where someone is oppressed, don't expect the oppressed to do the emotional labor of explaining things to you, especially if you're someone who does not, who has never ever in their life had that experience. You will not be able to understand it. Hmm. 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 अरे यहाँ पे दो चूतियाँ हैं चैट में. होल्ड ऑन. एक को निकाला और एक कोई है, इसका नाम क्या है? इसको भी निकाला. Guys, if you want to come on screen, don't give me your agenda in the private chat. If I find out you're a dick in the chat, I'm just going to remove you. It just, it reduces my own work. There were 7 people, now there are 4 people. So, yeah. There is someone called San whose devices are not connected. So, I'm going to move on to Agastya. Hi, Agastya.
Hey Vimoh, am I audible?
Yeah. What's up?
So I'm good. Long time no see. I mean, I missed the past couple of sessions, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm here to address the whole social construct scenario.
Which social construct scenario?
You know, the one you happened to talk about some minutes ago.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing. I mean, that guy totally botched up what the social construct and the science and the supernatural thing mean.
Can you speak
Right,
a
so
little
here's the
louder,
thing.
Agastya? Your audio is very chippy.
Oh, okay, fine. Am I audible now?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, fine. So, what is your definition of science? Like, I mean, don't worry, this is not some JP routine.
Okay.
What is your definition of science? What do you mean by when you say science?
I define science as the method using which we come to conclusions about reality by observation, peer review, and verification, and then building a model that explains things adequately.
Exactly. So here's the thing. This science is also like the tool. So you understand that science is a tool which we use to interact with our surroundings, right?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, fine. So
Agastya?
here's the thing. What happened? Yeah, okay. Wait. Yeah, sure. So science is something like which you use to interact with reality. So different people have different kind of experiences. So that's the thing. I mean, when they do that and institutionalize such things, that becomes a social construct, because then it becomes like removed from the nature, and what the product of this institution is not like. And I mean, okay, here's the thing. Here's one thing you have to understand. My understanding of social construct and all these things comes from debating with postmodernists and social constructionists, whatever. I
Okay.
myself am not an expert,
Hmm.
so I might be grossly wrong and grossly exaggerating and all kinds of things. I might be totally wrong about this.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Okay, so when postmodernists say like science is a social construct, they mean like it's a human endeavor. I mean, there is no like when we are looking for inherent truths, like we
Hmm.
also have our own biases and our own limitations, right?
Hmm.
And when we like collaborate together, we form an institution around it, peer review around it, like those things, they seep through it.
Hmm.
That's what they mean by social construct. So when you hear things like, okay, science is sexist, science is racist, and all these things,
I'm
they
not sure
actually
the
mean a
person. I'm not sure the person we were speaking previously understood
no.
this, because they were
Yeah, I mean,
their description of it was disjointed.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I mean,
Yeah. I agree with you.
totally like
I think you're kind of adequately describing what postmodernists think. So, and I don't
I
have a
mean,
huge
and
problem with it,
I don't. I
especially
don't necessarily agree with them actually.
no,
Like
no,
I mean,
even I don't. But I think you're
yeah,
describing their position adequately. My only problem with it is that when we say social construct and we include all of humanity in that definition of social, then is there any way of
yeah.
knowing
I
what
understand.
is social and what is not?
I mean, look. I mean, that's exactly. I mean, I don't particularly. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they talk about like everything is a social construct, like okay, religion, language, God, and everything. I mean, like I said. I mean, I'm not particularly expert in postmodernist concepts. I mean,
Hmm.
here's the thing. I mean, J.D. Bernal's History of Science. He starts with saying science is a social endeavor.
Hmm.
It's not something you can just sit in your home and like go to nature and do something. You have to like collaborate. I mean, collaborate with
Got it.
other people. I mean, you have to decide on what's the correct methodology is and all that.
Hmm.
I don't. I mean, that being said, I don't particularly agree with most of what they say. I mean, much of what they say. You heard of that ridiculous paper, right? I mean, when that
Hmm.
paper where science is sexist, she
I don't remember the
compare.
paper.
Okay. Oh, so you have not heard of that paper? Okay. There's this
No,
paper.
I
I
don't know what
forgot
paper
the
you're talking about. What paper are you
Oh no,
talking about?
I'm describing it. Okay, there's this paper. I forgot the author and the name and whatnot. I mean, in which she goes on about how rigor is a it just stems from the dick measuring contest of men, and I don't know. There's less emphasis on fluid mechanics and all.
Okay.
And
Okay.
look, it's absolutely ridiculous as far as I can think of.
Hmm.
But there's this scientist called Andrew Sokol, right? I mean, he just pulled a prank. He just randomly wrote this
What's his name? Andrew?
re-
Oh yeah, yeah, I
Sokol.
remember this. He wrote a prank
Yeah,
paper and
yeah,
got it
yeah,
published.
and
Yeah, I remember
that
this.
got published.
I remember this.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean that's how
And there were
ridiculous the
certain ideas
postmodernists
in it
academic.
which remain in circulation even today when Andrew himself has said, dude, guys, that was a prank. Stop taking it seriously.
I mean, no, I mean that's the thing. I mean, many of the right wingers they point, okay, postmodernism destroyed, but it's actually not the case. I mean, Andrew Sokol points out the flaws in it. I mean, many of the postmodernists they don't actually particularly get what have a quite grip on what these scientific definitions are. He even goes on about how they misinterpreted Gödelian logic and many other concepts in science. Okay, that's the
Hmm.
thing which happens when you're commenting on things which you're not particularly expert about.
Hmm.
That being said, yeah, I mean, some of their concerns are actually valid, because if you look at the life sciences, especially when the whole gender debate, I mean, you can't say that they're wrong. It's just
Hmm.
white men saying like what's a gender and what isn't.
Yeah.
White,
White men subscribing to the illusion that throughout history there have been two genders.
yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, you
Yeah.
got Papa Phineas in I don't know, Papua New Guinea. I don't know, we had like until British came in, there were
Yeah. Even India
Hitchcock
had
movies.
quite a lot of publicly visible
Yeah,
diversity. Yeah.
yeah,
But
and
Agastya, do you have
not
any
necessarily.
other point to make? I want to move on to the next person. If you're done
Okay,
with
man.
this.
I mean, not particularly, but like that's exactly what I wanted to say. I mean, I kind of felt like you botched up that conversation, but again, the whole thing started off with the wrong foot. I mean, that guy was just jumping off from this to that, and
Yeah.
somehow,
No, the
somehow he
conversation,
wanted
I'm
to.
only gonna, in order to have a
eh,
conversation,
He
I'm
so
only gonna follow
somehow
what
he
he's
was
saying, right?
implying that because science is a social construct, supernatural exists or some shit like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he was
So
just
if he
fucking
had
bonkers.
only come to me, if he had only come to me with what you
Yeah,
came with, I would have agreed.
yeah.
But he tried to weave into supernatural and chips and
I don't know. Because here's the thing.
what were we talking about? Of some kind of social structure
Because
and
here's
stuff.
yeah, there are many people who are like, okay, so does that mean Ayurveda and all? Do they? I mean,
Yeah.
do they come into play as sciences because science is social construct and whatnot? I don't think so,
Hmm.
because like if you cut open a human body,
Hmm.
you don't see
What you
3%
find is
super
not
in there.
dependent on social structures. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. But
Hmm.
like if we're talking about science as an institution, then only these things come into play.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I
there is
just want to
nuance
make
there.
the yeah. I mean, so I just want to make that distinction, and like I just wanted to say the guys just I don't know babbling random stuff. So I'll take
Hmm.
my leave, I guess. See you, man.
Chalo. Bye bye.
Bye.
Right. Next is Vivek. Hi Vivek underscore.
हाय विमो भाई
Hello.
काफी टाइम से मैं ट्राई कर रहा था अच्छा वैसे एम आई ऑडिबल
Yes, you're audible.
अच्छा विमो भैया मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था एक्चुअली मैं डिस्कस करना चाह रहा था वीगनिज्म
Hmm.
के ऊपर
Hmm.
तो मतलब क्या थॉट्स हैं आपके क्योंकि मैं तो अग्री करता हूँ मैंने काफी इसमें थोड़ा
Are
थॉट
you a
लगाया है
vegan?
इसमें I was a vegetarian since my whole life, but I've turned
Hmm.
vegan now after like thinking and logical analysis as far as like I can go there. But I wanted to discuss कि मतलब क्या सीन है आप मतलब आप क्या
मेरा
सोचते हो इस बारे
पोजीशन
में
मेरा पोजीशन ये है कि आई थिंक veganism is a morally good choice.
हम्म
However, it is not possible for everyone for various reasons. In India, it is also a political decision because हमारे यहाँ थोड़ा vegetarian supremacism चलता है, where people's
हम्म
food habits, if they are meat related, get them killed. People get attacked on suspicion of possessing meat and they get killed. People are marginalized. Tribal communities are marginalized by Brahminical communities on the basis of vegetarian supremacism. So I try to not tell people what to eat because it is politically problematic. That is my position on it. If you're asking me whether I am a vegan or not, A, that is a personal question. B, I have been trying to try to consume less and less animal products over the last year. I have succeeded in getting myself to egg and fish.
बट आप ये नहीं सोचते कि जैसे पॉलिटिकल करेक्टनेस है कि हमें ये चीज नहीं देनी चाहिए थी हम कहते हैं ये पर्सनल चॉइस है बट अगर इसमें कोई विक्टिम इन्वॉल्व है जिसे मैं विक्टिम कंसिडर करता हूँ तो पर्सनल चॉइस नहीं होनी चाहिए आपको नहीं लगता कि हमें प्रमोट करना चाहिए वीगनिज्म और एटलीस्ट ये थॉट लोगों के माइंड में
नहीं,
आना
मैं
चाहिए कि
किसी
वो
को मैं
हाँ
किसी को वीगनिज्म प्रमोट करने से रोक नहीं रहा हूँ। मैं बस ये कह रहा हूँ कि मैं अपने प्लेटफ़ॉर्म का इस्तेमाल वीगनिज्म को प्रमोट करने के लिए नहीं करता, क्योंकि दिस इज़ अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ प्लेटफ़ॉर्म एंड अ लॉट ऑफ इट हैज़ टू डू विथ ह्यूमन राइट्स एंड वन ऑफ द मेन रीज़न्स ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स वायलेशन इन इंडिया टेंड्स टू बी फोर्स्ड वेजिटेरियनिज्म। दैट्स व्हाई।
या थैंक्स आई मीन एक और टॉपिक था एक छोटा सा डिस्कशन और था
हाँ,
कि
श्योर, श्योर।
एक हाँ एक कोट एक सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक थिंकिंग है कि द होल वर्ल्ड इज अ परसेप्शन
हुँ,
जैसे कि मैं थोड़ा इलैबोरेट करता हूँ छोटा सा क्योंकि अगर
हुँ,
मान लो हम एक लाल कलर का चश्मा पहन के पैदा हुए होते तो
हुँ,
हमें यही लगता कि भाई पूरी दुनिया ही लाल है
हुँ,
और अगर मेरा भाई नीले कलर का चश्मा पहन के पैदा हुआ होता उसको लगता पूरी दुनिया ही नीली है तो
हाँ,
जैसे हमारी आंखें हैं वो केवल 3 डायमेंशन में देखती है तो हमें
हाँ,
वही दिखता है जो ये मशीन दिखा रही है तो एक तरीके से प्रोजेक्शन है अब जैसे
हुँ,
चींटी के लिए जो उसके सेंसरी परसेप्शन वो अलग है हमारे
हुँ,
लिए जो सेंसरी एक्चुअली जो भी हम देखते हैं वो सेंसरी परसेप्शन है चींटी
हुँ,
के लिए भी अलग है और अगर कोई एलियन आ जाए उसके जो सेंसेस ज्यादा इवॉल्व हो क्या पता कुछ और कर सकता हो उसके लिए
हुँ,
रियलिटी अलग है तो
हुँ।
आपको ये स्टेटमेंट कैसी लगती है कि रियलिटी है ही नहीं सब चीज एक परसेप्शन है
सब चीज़ें परसेप्शन नहीं है ना। हमें देखो, कल परसों, अरे यार इसके बारे में हर हफ्ते क्यों बातचीत होती है। कल परसों कोई आया था जिसने बोला कि
हम्म,
तुमने जो कहा उसी का एक सोफिस्टिकेटेड वर्जन बता रहा था कॉल्ड एनालिटिक आइडियलिज्म। पर वहाँ नहीं जाता है, मैं बेसिकली बता रहा हूँ। सपोज मेरे हाथ में एक पत्थर है, वो पत्थर गोल है, सफ़ेद है और ब्राउन है, ठीक है। क्या ये पत्थर
हम्म
सिर्फ मेरे दिमाग के अंदर है, या पत्थर का जो इम्प्रेशन है वो मेरा दिमाग क्रिएट कर रहा है? अगर मेरा दिमाग नहीं होता तो क्या पत्थर नहीं होता? होता ना?
लेकिन पत्थर, जिसको आप पत्थर कह रहे हो, वो तो आप शेप को कह रहे हो ना, और एक विजुअल परसेप्शन को कह रहे हो ना।
हाँ, पर द ऑब्जेक्ट इटसेल्फ दैट आई एम लुकिंग एट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द परसेप्शन। मेरा
लेकिन
दिमाग
हम उसे
एक
फिर पत्थर नहीं कह
मेरा
सकते।
दिमाग मेरा दिमाग एक पत्थर, एक चीज को देख के उसको एक डेफिनेशन दे रहा है ताकि मैं उसको डिस्क्राइब कर सकूं, राइट? उसका कलर, उसका शेप, वो मेरे हाथ में कैसा फील करता है, ये सब मेरे परसेप्शन ने क्रिएट किया है। पर अगर मेरा परसेप्शन नहीं होता तो पत्थर होता, राइट? दूसरे लोग पत्थर को देख पाते, चींटी पत्थर पे चढ़ पाती, एलियन पत्थर को देख पाता। So material reality, I think, does exist. Our perception gives us a certain version of it. That does not mean that our perception is all there is.
लेकिन हम एक मटेरियल को, जैसे मटेरियल कैसे कह सकते हैं, जैसे मैंने हाथ में अपने फोन पकड़ा हुआ है, तो
Hmm.
अगर मैं जितने भी थॉट मुझे बताए गए हैं कि ये फोन है, ये कलर है, वो सब छोड़ दूं, असल में वो क्या है? वो एक टच है। असल में मैं फोन को कैसे एक्सपीरियंस कर रहा हूँ, वो एक टच है। टच, फिर दूसरी चीज आती है, मैं फोन को देख रहा हूँ, जो कि एक विजुअल परसेप्शन है। तो
मैं
असल
तुम्हारे
में जो फोन
परसेप्शन
का
को नकार नहीं रहा हूँ। मैं तुम्हारे इस
हम्म
कंक्लूजन को क्वेश्चन कर रहा हूँ। देखो, तुम कह रहे हो कि फोन परसेप्शन है। मैं उसको डिनाई नहीं कर रहा हूँ। मैं डिनाई कर रहा हूँ इस बात को कि फोन सिर्फ परसेप्शन है।
हम्म
समझ में आया?
नहीं, ये तो सही बोला आपने, ये सही बात है,
हाँ,
ये सही
बस
चीज है।
दैट्स ऑल, दैट्स ऑल। कूल, इज
क्योंकि
दैट
एक
ऑल?
ब्लाइंड
डू यू हैव
पर्सन के
more?
लिए,
ओके,
हाँ,
हाँ, बोलो अपना
जैसे
आखिरी
जैसे
पॉइंट बोलो।
जैसे ब्लाइंड पर्सन के लिए नहीं होगा, केवल टच होगा। फोन एक
हुँ,
विजुअल परसेप्शन नहीं होगा, केवल उसके लिए एक टच होगा,
हुँ,
राइट?
या
तो यही एक थॉट था कि मतलब होल वर्ल्ड इज अ परसेप्शन, कि
नो, द
हाँ,
होल वर्ल्ड
ये
इज़
भी
नॉट अ
आपने
परसेप्शन, because if you were the only person who existed, then you could come to the conclusion that the whole world is just perception. There are people like that, they're called solipsists. बट दूसरे लोग हैं दुनिया में। अगर तुमको फ़ोन के परसेप्शन को लेके डाउट है, तुम किसी और दूसरे व्यक्ति से पूछ सकते हो, "सुन, ये फ़ोन मुझे काला लग रहा है, तुझे काला लग रहा है क्या?" वो बोलेगा, "हाँ, लग रहा है।" एंड देन यू कम टू द कंक्लूजन दैट ये काला है, ऑब्जेक्टिवली काला है। सिर्फ मुझे काला नहीं लग रहा है।
लेकिन कलर
करेक्ट?
ब्लाइंड पर्सन को तो काला नहीं लगेगा ना, ये तो मशीन के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है, जो
हाँ,
हमारी आंखें मशीन है वो दिखा रही है।
मैं ये थोड़ी कह रहा हूँ कि हर किसी को एक जैसा दिखेगा। मैं कह रहा हूँ कि नॉमिनली अगर आग गरम है, ये चीज़ सबको एक ही चीज़ फ़ील होगी ना। अगर तुम आग में खड़े होगे, तुम जलोगे, किसी और को बुलाओगे, "ए तू यहाँ पे आग में घुस, तुझे गर्मी लग रही है क्या?" वो भी जलेगा, वो बोलेगा, "हाँ, गर्मी लग रही है।" देन यू कैन कम टू द कंक्लूजन दैट द स्टेटमेंट दैट फायर इज़ हॉट इज़ ट्रू। बिकॉज़ 2
हम्म
पीपल फेल्ट इट, 3 पीपल फील इट, मेनी पीपल विल फील इट। सो दिस इज़ हाउ वी डू। हम लोग किसी चीज़ को देख के वो उसकी किस हद तक सच है, उसका लाइक्लीहुड उसको असाइन करते हैं। कई चीज़ें ऐसी हो सकती है कि सिर्फ़ तुम्हें दिखेंगी। कई चीज़ें ऐसी हो सकती है जो
हम्म
किसी को नहीं दिखेंगी। कई चीज़ें ऐसी हो सकती है जो कुछ लोगों को दिखेंगी, कुछ को नहीं दिखेंगी। हम लोग हर चीज़ के बारे में सेम चीज़ नहीं सोचते, है ना? तो एक
हम्म
नॉर्मल चीज़ है, पत्थर या फ़ोन, इसके बारे में ज़्यादातर लोगों को सही लगेगा, एक ही चीज़ लगेगी। सो वी डोंट हैव एनी रीज़न टू थिंक दैट इट इज़ नॉट देयर।
हम्म
हुँ,
नहीं भी भाई, मतलब ये इंसाइट मिली कि मतलब परसेप्शन है, बट केवल परसेप्शन नहीं है, ये तो मुझे नया
हाँ,
सीखने को मिला।
हाँ।
बट
ये
थैंक्स
मिस्टेक
विमो
कई
भाई
लोग
कि
करते हैं,
हाँ।
परसेप्शन
हम्म
परसेप्शन फ़ील होता है और फिर वो ये कहते हैं कि परसेप्शन इज़ रियलिटी, व्हिच आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम विथ। But when they say perception, the only reality is perception, then you run into a problem because then you have to explain, how do other people see what I see? How do instruments measure what I measure? अगर तुम फ़ोन को एक जगह पे रख दोगे, एक पत्थर को एक जगह पे रख दोगे और तुमने किसी को भी नहीं दिखाया और एक माइक्रोस्कोप उसके ऊपर लगा दिया और रिकॉर्ड करने लगे उसके अंदर क्या हो रहा है, वो रिकॉर्डिंग बाद में देखोगे तो सबको एक ही दिखेगा ना।
हम्म
The microscope is not a conscious being. The device is not a conscious being. It's still recording something that is happening independent of minds. So the thing is there, even if it is not being observed by you.
हम्म
Yeah.
बट वो इन्फॉर्मेशन की, जैसे साइबेरिया में एक शेर है, जब तक उसे
Hmm.
कोई ऑब्जर्व ना करे तो हमें कैसे पता चलेगा साइबेरिया में एक शेर है? हम केवल अज्यूम ही तो कर रहे हैं कि वो है,
नहीं,
या
अज्यूम नहीं
कोई
कर
भी
रहे
जो
हो
बंदा
तुम।
आएगा।
साइबेरिया में शेर हैं क्या? सच में मुझे नहीं पता। पर अगर
नहीं नहीं, वो
हैं,
तो मैं ऐसी ऐसी कह
साइबेरिया
रहा
में
हूँ।
एग्जाम्पल है, मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि साइबेरिया में एक शेर है। किसी ने क्लेम किया कि साइबेरिया में एक शेर है। हाउ डू वी एस्टैब्लिश इफ दे आर टेलिंग द ट्रूथ? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, it is not impossible, I think, to for a lion to exist. Lions exist. I've seen lions before. Siberia is on Earth. So it is not impossible for lions to exist in Siberia. I can then go on the internet and search for are lions likely in Siberia. If I find out yes, then मेरे मन में एक रीजनेबल अमाउंट ऑफ ये कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया है कि साइबेरिया में लायन हो सकते हैं. और अगर साइबेरिया में लायन हो सकते हैं, तो साइबेरिया में लायन हैं इज नॉट अ ह्यूज लीप.
हम्म
दैट्स ऑल. ये इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है जितना कि लोग इसको बनाते हैं.
नहीं एक्चुअली जो हाँ इस चैनल पे पहले भी बात हो रही थी ना, कॉन्शियसनेस है कि सब सब चीजें कॉन्शियसनेस है, वो इस तरीके से करते हैं क्योंकि जैसे हम मान लो हम किसी चीज को डिफाइन नहीं करते क्योंकि हर डेफिनेशन बाहर से मिली है कि
हम्म,
इसे फोन कहते हैं, इसे काला कहते हैं, इसे नीला कहते हैं, सब छोड़ दो. असल में क्या है, मैं फोन को टच है और एक सेंसरी परसेप्शन है, उसको भी हम कैसे एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे हैं, नोइंग. मैं इस टच को जान रहा हूँ ना, जब मैं फोन को
हम्म,
टच कर रहा हूँ इसको जान रहा हूँ.
हम्म, हम्म,
आंखें जो परसेप्शन देख रही है मैं इसको जान रहा हूँ. अगर जो मुझे बाहर से मिला है मैं सब हटा दूं, बचता क्या है, नोइंग, मतलब एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ द नोइंग या
हम्म,
नोइंग द एक्सपीरियंस. तो
हम्म,
जो वो लोग कहते हैं, जो ये थॉट प्रोसेस है अद्वैता वेदांता के और का भी, ये जो कॉन्शियसनेस है वो नोइंग कहते हैं क्योंकि जो भी चीज डेफिनेशन तो बाहर से मिली है ना, असल में क्या एग्जिस्ट करता है, नोइंग या एक्सपीरियंसिंग. उसके
नहीं नहीं.
अलावा तो कुछ
आई
एग्जिस्ट
थिंक
नहीं
उसमें
करता.
उसमें गैप है. देखो,
हम्म
तुम अगर किसी चीज को नो देखो, तुम अगर कहोगे कि मैं हर चीज सिर्फ अपने मन के अंदर ही जानता हूँ, तो वो गलत है. क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीजें तुम वेरीफाई करके जानते हो. नहीं, तुम दूसरों से बातें
बट
करते हो.
वो भी तो
तुमने
सेंसरी परसेप्शन से जान रहा है.
नहीं, सेंसरी परसेप्शन, हाँ, वो सेंसरी परसेप्शन से जान रहा, पर कम से कम वो एक अलग माइंड है और उसके परसेप्शन तुम्हारे परसेप्शन से अलग है. और अगर उसका परसेप्शन और तुम्हारा परसेप्शन एक ही है, देन यू हैव रीजन टू थिंक दैट दिस थिंग एग्जिस्ट इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ एटलीस्ट माई माइंड. राइट? सपोज एक एप्पल है, वो एप्पल लाल है,
हम्म
तुमने एप्पल को देखा, ये एप्पल लाल है. पर देन यू आर लाइक, हाउ डू आई नो ये सच में लाल है? तुम किसी और से पूछते हो, भाई ये एप्पल लाल है क्या? वो बोलता है हाँ. तुम कहते हो ओके, सो नाउ आई हैव एक्सटर्नल वेरिफिकेशन ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट ये लाल है. तुम और लोगों से पूछते हो और ज्यादा से लोग बोलते हैं कि हाँ ये लाल है. नाउ यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस कि एप्पल लाल है. एंड दैट इज द बेस्ट वी कैन डू. यू कैन नेवर नो विद एब्सोल्यूट सर्टेनिटी कि कोई चीज़ को जिस रूप से डिफाइन किया जा रहा है वो सच है या नहीं. बट यू कैन वेरीफाई थिंग्स फ्रॉम मैनी 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 पर्सपेक्टिव्स इन ऑर्डर टू कम टू द कंक्लूजन दैट या ये एप्पल लाल है.
नहीं आपने ये बात तो अग्री करी है, मुझे थॉट मिला इसमें सोचने के लिए. बट ये भी तो है कि लाल भी तो बताया गया है, असल में तो लाल नहीं है, लाल तो हम एक एक परसेप्शन को कह रहे हैं,
हाँ,
जैसे इस चीज
बिल्कुल.
को लाल कहते
हमें
हैं,
कोई चीज़
असल में
लाल
तो
दिख रही है
एप्पल ने
क्योंकि
कभी
हमारी
नहीं कहा.
आंखें, इंसानों की आंखें हैं. हो सकता है कोई और जानवर हो जिसको वो नीला दिखता हो. जब हम लाल
हम्म
कहते हैं, हम एक कंडीशनल ट्रूथ के ऊपर एग्री कर रहे हैं. हम इंसान हैं, हमारा सूरज एक प्रकार की लाइट छोड़ता है, उस लाइट में ये फल एक पर्टिकुलर कलर में अपीयर करता है, उस कलर का नाम हमने लाल दिया है. बट दैट्स जस्ट एन एग्जाम्पल. इफ यू वांट वी कैन यूज सम अदर एग्जाम्पल. पानी का क्या क्या है, पानी का H2O, हाइड्रोजन और ऑक्सीजन.
हाँ
राइट? हाइड्रोजन
हम्म
और ऑक्सीजन are not subjective. They're elements, they're part of the natural world. They're on the periodic table. You can
हम्म
verify from multiple perspectives that water is made of hydrogen and oxygen.
आप उन्हें जे कृष्णमूर्ति और यूजी कृष्णमूर्ति को सुना है?
मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आता उनका. मैं कहता हूँ यार.
अ,
मुझे
नहीं नहीं नहीं
मुझे
नहीं.
मुझे देखो, जय कृष्णमूर्ति का सबसे बड़ा मुझे प्रॉब्लम क्या लगता है पता है? ही सेज दैट थॉट इज द एनिमी एंड वी शुड नॉट थिंक इन ऑर्डर टू व्हाटएवर. आई कांट डू दैट. आई कांट स्टॉप थिंकिंग. आई डोंट नो हाउ समवन कैन स्टॉप थिंकिंग.
नहीं
मतलब
असल में
पढ़ने
तो
में अच्छा
वैसे मैंने
लगता है.
सुना नहीं ऐसा कहे हुए. नहीं एक्चुअली
पढ़ने में
बहुत
अच्छा लगता है.
इंसाइटफुल है.
मुझे उनके इनसाइट समझ में नहीं आती. मैं ऐसे कई लोगों को जानता
हम्म
हूँ जिनको समझ में नहीं आता, पर वो फिर भी बोलते हैं अरे वाह क्या लिखा है. मैं वो नहीं कर सकता.
हम्म अब
चलो
जैसे
ठीक
ये
है.
जो चल. हाँ
मेक योर लास्ट पॉइंट विवेक. 4-5 लोग वेट
नहीं
कर रहे हैं.
वही मैं कह रहा था कि हाँ ये तो एक समझ में आया इस डिस्कशन से कि मतलब केवल परसेप्शन नहीं है, हाँ परसेप्शन है, बट केवल
हम्म,
परसेप्शन नहीं है. तो थैंक यू सो मच विमो भाई फॉर दिस
चलो.
इनसाइट्स. थैंक यू सो
चलो,
मच.
थैंक यू विवेक. बाय बाय. दैट वाज विवेक. हर्ष कौन है? यहाँ पे हर्ष कुछ बोल रहा है क्या? अच्छा, ये लोग खाने के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. एनीवे, हाउंड 212 बोलो.
या गुड इवनिंग विमो, कैसे हैं आप?
ठीक हो? बताइए.
बस मैं एक्चुअली मतलब आपने अभी कुछ लोगों को निकाला था
हम्म
तो साथ साथ मैं भी निकल गया। मैंने कहा
हाँ, मुझे
कुछ
मुझे लगता
गलत
है मैंने
फहमी,
आपको शायद गलती से निकाल दिया।
मुझे लगा कुछ गलत फहमी हुई थी, कुछ
नहीं, नहीं,
ऐसा लगा।
मुझे लगता है मैंने आपको गलती से निकाल दिया। आई एम सॉरी अबाउट दैट। बोलिए, पॉइंट क्या
अच्छा, नहीं नहीं, यू शुड बी सॉरी। मैंने कहा चलो ये क्लैरिफिकेशन अच्छा था कि, क्योंकि नहीं तो मेरे दिमाग में था कि ऐसा क्यों किया इन्होंने। अच्छा, चलिए मैं सर हिंदी में ही बात कर लूँ ना, कोई
हाँ,
दिक्कत
बिल्कुल, श्योर।
नहीं। मैं सर ये बोल रहा था, एक अभी कुछ वो हुआ ना, 22 प्रतिज्ञाओं का जो केस हो रहा था,
हुँ, हुँ,
तो अभी थोड़े और हुए कन्वर्ट।
हुँ।
तो ये जो इसके साथ क्या ये इनका स्टेटस भी चले आता है क्या, शूद्रा का?
आई डोंट नो।
Acha. So are they giving up on like religion only, Hinduism, or they are giving up on the what do you call reservation also?
आई डोंट नो।
अच्छा, बस मेरे को यही कंफर्म करना था, बिकॉज somebody asked me, तो मैं
हुँ,
डेविल्स एडवोकेट ही बनना चाह रहा था यहाँ पे कि यार अगर
अच्छा।
दोनों चीजें
नहीं, I
साथ
honestly
साथ।
don't know. All I know is that they have converted and they have vowed to not follow Hindu gods. I don't know about what happens to their reservation.
अच्छा, मैं
हुँ,
वही, मेरे को बस यही, मैंने कहा पूछ के देखो। अच्छा, आपके अकॉर्डिंग दोनों
हुँ।
केसेस रख लेते हैं, अगर नहीं पता देखो, आपको भी मतलब मुझे भी नहीं पता, तो
नहीं, अगर
अगर
नहीं
ये।
पता तो हाइपोथेटिकल्स में क्यों जाएँ? मैं एक काम करता हूँ, आई विल आल्सो लुक दिस अप, मे बी यू कैन कम बैक नेक्स्ट टाइम एंड वी कैन टॉक
अच्छा,
अबाउट इट।
और
हाइपोथेटिकली बात करके कुछ फ़ायदा नहीं है,
बिल्कुल ठीक, बिल्कुल ठीक। अच्छा,
ठीक
और
है?
एक चीज, ये आप सर बहुत बढ़िया काम तो कर रहे हैं सर, थोड़ा हिंदी में वीडियो बनाया करें ना, मोनोलॉग वाले।
यही तो कर रहा हूँ, अभी ये क्या है?
मतलब इसके भी
अच्छा,
शॉर्ट्स वो।
मोनोलॉग वाले, मेरा एक दूसरा चैनल है सर, youtube.com/vimo, वहाँ
मैंने
पे
सारे
इंग्लिश में वीडियो डालता हूँ।
सारे फॉलो।
और एक हिंदी चैनल है विमो एक्सप्लेन्स, उसका नाम बदल के विमो हिंदी रख दिया है वैसे। अगर आप सर्च करेंगे
अच्छा,
विमो हिंदी, यू विल फाइंड इट, उसमें सारे के सारे
जी
वीडियो
जी
हिंदी
जी,
में।
मैंने आपके वो चैनल लिस्ट में आते हैं सारे।
हाँ, तो
मैंने
वो
आपको
हिंदी वाला चैनल वही है। मुझे पता
वो
है प्रॉब्लम
गालिब।
क्या है, मैं भारतीय यूट्यूब में से कितने लोगों को देखता हूँ जो कि हिंग्लिश बोलते हैं, वो मुझसे नहीं हो पाता है। मैं इंग्लिश बोलता हूँ तो इंग्लिश बोलता हूँ, हिंदी बोलता हूँ तो हिंदी बोलता हूँ। इसलिए मुझे 2 चैनल बनाने पड़े।
नहीं, वो हिंदी में बोले ना, वो ऊपर उपग्रह मत बोले, सैटेलाइट बोल के आगे हिंदी बोल दे।
हाँ,
मतलब हिंदी का।
एक नेशनल ज्योग्राफिक का प्रोग्राम देखा था बहुत दिन पहले जिसको डब किया गया था। इंग्लिश में लाइन थी, द एस्टेरॉयड इज कमिंग टू डिस्ट्रॉय अर्थ, और
हाँ
उन्होंने
हाँ।
हिंदी में उसको डब किया था, अर्थ को डिस्ट्रॉय करने के लिए एस्टेरॉयड आ रहा है। मैंने बोला भाई इसको क्यों ट्रांसलेट किया था, अंग्रेजी में ही दिखा देते।
नहीं, वो सर वो भी तो था ना, उष्ण कटिबंधीय वर्षावन, ट्रॉपिकल रेन
या ट्रॉपिकल रेन
फॉरेस्ट।
फॉरेस्ट या
हाँ, उसके लिए भी
हाँ,
था। अच्छा, यही बोलना था मेरे को, और कुछ नहीं। बाकी बहुत
जी,
अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। मैंने गालिब के थ्रू आपको डिस्कवर किया। वो जो
अच्छा,
गालिब ने आपके साथ वो इंग्लिश स्ट्रीम किया था,
जी, जी, जी,
उसमें आई इवन केम। मैं बुक्स रीड नहीं करता हूँ, तो मैंने ऐसे ही एक सवाल फेंक दिया था कि यार मेरे को अंबेडकर साहब के बारे में बुक्स बता दो, तो आपने बोला था कि अ, ये करें आप, अंबेडकर जी के बारे में जानने के लिए अंबेडकर के द्वारा रिटन बुक्स पढ़ें।
हाँ,
मतलब उनके बारे में जिन्होंने लिखा है, इससे अच्छा उन्होंने जो लिखा है वो पढ़ें, ऐसा
हाँ,
बताया
और ये
था।
सब पे अप्लाई करता है। भगवत गीता को जानने के लिए भगवत गीता पढ़ो, भगवत गीता के बारे में
नहीं,
महात्म्य जो लिखे गए उसको मत पढ़ो। या गो टू
मुझे
ओरिजिनल
एक
सोर्स।
मुझे फिलोसफी और इन सब से तो बिल्कुल दूर भागता हूँ मैं। ये जो
अच्छा,
अंग्रेजों में इन कॉन्सेप्ट, ये जो पता नहीं कैसे कैसे शब्द बोलते हैं, भाई साहब जो पीछे भी आए थे, इनको दिक्कत क्या है मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही थी, देखो। मैं तो
ठीक है।
बस इसको, सॉरी, मैं किसी को वो नहीं कर रहा, लुक डाउन नहीं कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन मुझे समझ
हुँ,
नहीं आते थे, बहुत भारी भारी शब्द बोलते हैं ये।
हुँ,
सोच रहे हैं तो सोच ले भाई, क्या दिक्कत है। इनको, मेरे को ये होता है थोड़ा सा, शायद
ठीक
मैं
है।
थोड़ा इसको इजी ले रहा हूँ, लेकिन कुछ लोग इसको बहुत ज्यादा इसमें डीप चले जाते हैं।
हाँ, वैसे
छोटी सी बात है।
इट ऑल डिपेंड्स ऑन पर्सन्स प्रेफरेंस, किसी को डीप जाना अच्छा लगता है, किसी को नहीं लगता है।
जी, मैं सॉरी, मैंने थोड़ा गलत बोला था।
नहीं, नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं। हाँ, आपके पास कोई और पॉइंट है या मैं अगले कॉलर पे जा सकता हूँ?
नहीं नहीं सर, प्लीज प्लीज, बस सर, अब
जी,
बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हो, बस हिंदी में
जी,
थोड़ा
थैंक यू।
ज्यादा, बस।
जी,
यू आर
जी, जी,
वेलकम।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू, थैंक यू। I would like to thank Aziz Morani for the $2.99 super sticker. Much appreciated, sir. Again, if anyone wants to support the channel, feel free to send a super chat. अच्छा, मैं सबको सीक्वेंस में ले रहा हूँ सर, कोई जल्दीबाजी मत करो। अभी मेरे पास 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 लोग हैं। सबसे पहले है अनीश। अनीश, बोलिए।
हेलो।
हेलो।
हेलो, मैं ऑडिबल हूँ?
हाँ, यस ऑडिबल हो, बताओ।
हाँ। अम, मैं मैं आपका चैनल रिसेंटली फॉलो किया, साइंस डोप के थ्रू आया था।
हम्म।
तो मेरा ये था कि आई एम अ बिट कंफ्यूज्ड विद रिगार्ड्स टू, आपका एक वीडियो मैंने देखा था, शॉर्ट देखा था, उसमें मैं थोड़ा सा डिसएग्री, मेरे को थोड़ा कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं समझ में आया। डिसएग्रीमेंट
ओके
बाद में रखूंगा, मैं कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं समझ में आया था।
ओके।
आपने एक शॉर्ट बनाया था जिसमें आपने बोला था ट्रांसफोबिक जोक्स आर नॉट फनी।
या
हेलो,
हाँ, आई हर्ड यू, गो ऑन।
सॉरी, थोड़ा आपका वो कट रहा है, तो मैं,
नहीं, आई
हाँ,
थिंक
तो
कनेक्शन
द
इशू है
पॉइंट
आपके एंड पे, या फिर कनेक्शन।
उसमें आपने फर्स्ट एक पॉइंट रखा था, कनेक्शन इश्यू है क्या?
हाँ, आपके एंड पे है, थोड़ा वीक है कनेक्शन। अगर वाईफाई कनेक्शन चेंज कर सकते हैं तो कर लीजिए।
मेरे को आप 5 मिनट दीजिए, मेरे को आप बाद में फिर नेक्स्ट कॉलर के बाद ले लीजिएगा।
ठीक है ठीक है। आई विल टेक पैड्स। हाय पैड्स।
Hey, hi Vimoh.
हेलो, व्हाट्स अप?
I'm doing good. What about you?
आई एम ओके।
Yeah. मेरे दो सवाल थे at my home everyone is religious. दीदी एक गुरु को मानती है who is famous now.
पैड्स, डिडंट यू टॉक अबाउट दिस लास्ट टाइम?
No, I didn't think
अच्छा, दैट
I
वाज
talked
समवन
about
एल्स।
this.
ओके, कूल कूल कूल, गो
Yeah.
ऑन।
और बहन कुछ एक कल्ट कृष्णा को मानती है
हम्म।
and I am an atheist. So
ओके।
घर में जब भी जाता हूँ like पूजा के टाइम में कभी भी तो they always argue with me.
हम्म
अगर एटलीस्ट हमारे खुशी के लिए करो ये सब करके.
हम्म।
So I try to argue them and it goes in a wrong direction. How do you
ओके,
convince yourself to be an atheist and let them allow me to be what I am?
आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन। हाउ डू यू कन्विंस योरसेल्फ टू बी एन एथिस्ट?
No, no, no. I want to convince them that I don't believe in these things and don't force me to do the religious things.
आर दे फोर्सिंग यू?
Yeah, they force all the time.
व्हाट काइंड ऑफ फोर्सिंग?
Like at least हमारी खुशी के लिए तो कर.
अच्छा,
You're
so
making
if
us
you
sad.
don't do it, what kind of problems will be created?
Problems तो इतना कुछ है नहीं, but they'll just start arguing. There will be no peace at home.
हाँ, तो see, the main problem with this is, A, I'm not a trained counselor, and
Hmm.
secondly, I don't know your family. I don't know what kind of a dynamic you have with them. Like, some parents are chill, right? And some are
Okay.
extremely problematic in that if you don't do what they say, they will really, throw you out of the house or something. So
Hmm.
are you facing something like that?
No, no, not that major.
Okay.
But
हाँ, then I
how do you
think it's okay.
convince to be an atheist? Like, कैसे
How do
बताओगे? Like,
you tell them that I don't believe this stuff? Do you think what do you think will happen if you tell them?
बहुत सारा काउंटर क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं और मेरी दीदी और बहन ये सब इसमें जाती है ना वो they are subscribed to some gurus. So
अच्छा,
they come
तो
up with
tell
such
them. Yeah,
broad
at no
questions.
point, if nobody is being offensive towards you, if nobody is causing you serious troubles in life, you can always talk
Hmm.
about this stuff. Talking is healthy. But again,
Okay.
I don't know about your family. I don't know how they will take things. So I don't think I
Mhm.
should be the one to talk about it. Do you have other friends or members of family who you can talk to about this?
Uh, Most of them are religious. No one is atheist.
Are there at least open-minded religious people in your family
Yeah,
who you can
there
talk
are.
to? Yeah. So
There
I
are.
think that
Like in
would be
friend
better.
circle, there are.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they would be better to talk about this.
Like मेरे फ्रेंड सर्कल में like बहुत सारे हैं जो different religions है. Everyone want to pitch their own religion and tell that their religion is good and you need to follow this if you want peace in your life.
Hmm. That's their
तो मैं
perspective.
सबको
Again,
like they're all good friends. I don't want hurt them, but
hmm,
मैं बोलता हूँ कि मैंने खुद का religion follow नहीं किया जो घर का है और मैं
hmm,
कैसे तेरा religion follow करूंगा.
hmm.
They just keep
Okay.
pitching things and sharing all those religious videos. ये सब साइंस है ये सब है करके.
So
So
if
I
it is
keep
causing
sharing
you,
your videos.
if they share you with your religious stuff and it bothers you, you can tell them, don't send me this stuff. Because this, at the end of the day, this is less about religion or atheism and more about personal space, right? If
Yeah,
you say
that's
that I
true.
don't like this, then why would someone send it to you? And if you say that you don't like this and someone continues to send it to you, then they're not respecting your personal space. And then how you deal with that is going to depend on what kind of a relationship you have with them. Are they someone you can scold? Are they someone you cannot scold? Are they more powerful than you, older than you, and you know you don't want to disagree with them publicly? These are decisions
Hmm.
I can't make for you because I have no idea how your family works.
Yeah.
So better to talk about this with people who know your family.
Okay. And
Cool.
one more suggestion, like, is it good to really read this text? Is there anything we can learn from this? Like, I know there will be bad things and good things also. Is it
What
necessary to read religious texts?
religious text? No, it is not necessary. You can read if you want to. It's not
Thank
necessary to
you.
read Lord of the Rings, but if you want to, you can. They're just books. They're just
Mm-hmm.
books. Yeah.
It's
If you
all
feel
our
like
personal interest.
if you want to read them to understand what they say, read them. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't care, you don't have to.
Okay.
Hmm.
My second question is, like, recently यहाँ पे एक
That
कनाडा
was your
movie आया
second
था.
question. This is your third question at last.
Okay, last one. Recently यहाँ पे एक कनाडा movie आया था, which was uh, there was one scene where in climate, it's very famous movie now.
Hmm.
वहाँ पे भी डब होके आया है. तो वो लोग ये सब क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहे थे, इसके बारे में साइंस क्या बोलता है, लाइक किसी के बॉडी में लाइक स्पिरिट या ऐसे सब चीजें आते हैं, दे द गॉड टॉक्स थ्रू देम. तो
Hmm.
मैंने बोला, मैंने इसके बारे में पढ़ा नहीं, अगर मैं जानूंगा इसके बारे में तो बताऊंगा. डू यू नो एनी थिंग्स रिसर्च इन दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग जो इंसान में आते हैं, लाइक ट्राइबल पीपल्स डू दिस काइंड ऑफ कल्ट थिंग.
So there are certain psychological explanations for this, which have to
हम्म.
do with either personality conditions or socially induced, ecstatic experiences. You've seen faith healers and stuff.
या.
You've seen among Hindus there is this thing called Mata Aayi hai. These things
हाँ
happen,
हाँ.
and there are scientific explanations for them. If you want, you can search for some, and you will find the explanation.
Is there
Uh,
any word where what we can search for this?
hmm, I don't know. I'll look this up. I promise I'll look this
Okay.
up and send
Because
it to
I
you.
was searching, I was getting all random, answers in Google.
Hmm.
Nothing particular.
Yeah. So I think I will ask some people, and I'll share some scientific papers on this with you, and you can find
Yeah.
out more.
Thanks, Vimoh.
Thanks, man. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So we are at the 1 hour 32 minute mark. I have 4 people left. I would request people to no longer send, no longer join. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove the link from there so that after this, no one can join. Um, Hold on. Mm, Remove. Yes, that is done. We have. अरे इसी बीच किसी ने join कर लिया. Okay, Anish is back. So let's take Anish. Anish, go on.
Hello.
Hey.
Is it audible now?
Yes, it is audible. But you're holding the phone too close to your mouth.
Oh, okay. Now?
Yeah, this is better.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point I was trying to make is I was listening. I saw your 60-second short, so I did not get the context of it.
Hmm.
And the context wasn't clear to me.
Okay,
You
so the
said,
context was that I said transphobic jokes are not funny, and that is what you are struggling to understand.
what I'm struggling to understand is whether you're talking about comedians. I talk about the general public when they pass comments.
Both, I suppose.
Because if it's comedians, I would like to have a discussion on it. But
Okay.
if it's like a general comment, I would say I agree with you to certain
Hmm.
extent.
So the difference that you're making, I think, is there, but it's not a huge one, because what happens is that when a comedian makes a joke, transphobic joke on stage, what they are doing is that they are spreading a kind of joke in society, and eventually people on the street will start making the same joke. So art should be accompanied by responsible behavior, and in general, also we talk about comedians needing to punch up, right? So A comedian, if he's not making any jokes about politicians in power, but is making plenty of jokes about trans people, is punching down, is not punching up. That was my point. And this punching down creates problems for trans people who have to face this discriminatory language on an everyday basis.
Now, here, what I would disagree is that uh, this has been seen over like periods that whenever comedians have been told not to like make jokes on so and so things. In 1970, this was about gay rights. It was about black people. Now it's trans people. Now it is black comedians who are coming up making jokes on black people. It is gay comedians coming up making jokes on gay people. So I
Hmm.
personally feel, again, this is my personal opinion based on what I have seen and researched, is that this sort of thing limits trans people to come into comedy because they cannot make jokes on such subjects anymore.
If a trans person,
It
I'll tell
feels
you this.
like
No, no, no. When I said transphobic jokes are
no,
not funny, I meant
either
jokes
you're
being
against the
made.
joke in and of itself, either you're against the joke in and of itself, or you're against certain people who make certain type of jokes.
I
That
suppose
was
my criticism would be generally, I suppose I was more talking about jokes about trans people by people who are not trans. If a trans person comes and wishes to make a joke out of their lived experience, I will be extremely interested in hearing about it.
because I personally feel that because you also had a point where you said that we don't find jokes on women able to drive funny or stuff, something along those lines. So
We
that is
don't.
where this
No,
point clicked
I
in.
what I said. Yeah, I get your point, and I'm glad that you're bringing this nuance to it. I think that when I say transphobic jokes, I mean jokes that demean and dehumanize trans people from the perspective of people who are not trans, mostly cisgendered male, heterosexual, white in the West, and here in India, upper caste males.
Here, some I would disagree a little bit, saying that I feel like punching down is okay because generally what I've seen is most comedians they include trans jokes as a sort of segment and they leave it. Most comedians that I've seen, like I've seen Ricky Gervais's entire
No, it's
recent
still,
set
it
on
doesn't matter
humanity,
how much, it doesn't matter how much they do it. What matters is that they're still putting out anti-trans sentiment into a
and
society which is already extremely anti-trans, and it does not help the trans people at all. If your point is that I want to be like a
hmm,
comedian's job is not to be responsible, then I don't know what I can say to you. I think artists should be responsible.
no, I think that what this does is that it does what we are not realizing is that we are you think it is dehumanizing people by making jokes on them. I had this opinion that rather when you make jokes, that's how you humanize more people because then you get people to laugh with you.
No, it
That's what
depends
I
on the
always
joke, right?
took
Anish,
with
are
comedy.
you Anish, listen, are you trans?
No, again, hmm,
Are you
no,
trans? Yeah. So, what is transphobic?
no,
What is transphobic and what is not
hmm,
transphobic? You are going to have a certain kind of opinion about it, which is not going to be informed by the lived experience of trans people. You might think a joke is not,
sure, I agree.
problematic. You might think that a joke is okay. It's not that bad, man. But a trans person might have a very different opinion of it. So I think that needs to be kept in mind when we talk about punching down. It is very easy for you and I to say, I'm also not trans, by the way. It is very easy for you and
Hmm.
I to say, yeah, man, this is okay. It's a little bit of punching down. What is the harm in it? But the actual harm will never be seen by us. And that is what I was talking about.
Is it really that harmful? Like, I want to,
Have you ever spoken to
because
a trans person
any,
about this?
most people I end up talking to, no,
Yeah,
because
you
I
should, I
don't know
think.
any trans person near my
My point
vicinity or
exactly.
online.
My point exactly. You should. And then maybe your perspective on this will be more
Okay,
informed.
I'll, sure. But based on what I have researched, this is what I had a difference on opinion with yours. But generally, I would
I
say I
understand.
agree with most
Difference
of
of
your
opinion is
topics.
difference of opinion is okay, and I'm glad that you watched it and you brought this point up. I thinking I'm my point is that the research that you have done is incomplete if you have not spoken to a trans person about it.
Sure, I'll
Yeah.
definitely talk to them.
Cool. Thanks, man.
If I ever end up
Okay.
inevitably talking to them, I'll talk to them. Okay, thank
No,
you.
not inevitably. I think you should seek out someone and ask very politely, hey, I wanted to have a conversation about transphobia in humor. If you are okay to it, if you find someone willing to talk to you, talk to them. Don't wait for it to happen, because
Okay.
another thing that we don't realize is that when we say I have researched this matter, and the only perspectives we have are from people who have nothing to do with the category that is being spoken about, we cannot call ourselves well informed on the matter, right?
Hmm. Got
Yeah.
it. The thing
Yeah.
is, I'm not very active on social media. Generally, I open YouTube to research a few things, to look out a few things, and then I close it.
I'm sure even if you search on YouTube, you can find trans people talking about transphobic jokes or comedians and problems like that. I will try to share a few in the community tab whenever I find the time. But if you search on YouTube also, transphobia in
Sure,
comedy, if you just search for these words, I'm sure you'll find a good amount of content by trans people. So make sure
definitely, I'll check them
you're
out.
hearing someone who is either trans or talking to someone who's trans. Cool?
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
definitely check that out.
Cool. Thanks, Anish.
Thank you.
Bye bye. That was Anish. I'll hold on. Who's this? Hmm. 154. Acha, someone called Humanist Vishal was in the chat, but he's no longer. Humanist Vishal, if you want to come back, I don't know how you'll come back, but I suppose they're gone now. Name Kumar. Hi, Name Kumar.
Hi Vimoh.
Hi, what's up?
Is there some disturbance?
No.
Okay, cool. Um, so so this is my second time on your live channel. So
Okay. Yeah, I remember
hi.
you.
So I wanted to like talk about the one of your Instagram posts.
Hmm.
Uh, if the enemy of your enemy is an opportunistic asshole, he should not be your friend.
Be your, yeah.
So who were you talking about?
I'll tell you what, everyone assumed I was talking about Aam Aadmi Party. But I was not actually talking about Aam
Ha.
Aadmi Party. I was actually talking about something else entirely that I've forgotten. And it had to do with, religious discourse, or like YouTubers allying
Ah.
with. Oh, yeah, I remember now. I was talking about ex Muslim atheists allying with RSS Hindutva Brigade in order to, attack Muslims. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. So, like, I have a similar kind of mm, view on
What, by the way,
this.
Name
So,
Kumar, is your name Name
huh?
Kumar, or is this a moniker?
No. I like the first time I joined, my the handle was just name. So you changed it to name Kumar. So I just
Acha,
let
acha,
it
acha.
be name Kumar.
Oh, yeah. I remember that, yeah. No, somebody was asking, maybe your name is Namme Kumar or something, and I'm mispronouncing it.
I
No, it is
no.
not. I remember this. I gave him this name. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. So I was thinking that like the enemy, like our enemy, so would be like the Hindutva RSS people. So
Hmm.
the enemy of your enemy would be the Muslims. So like the Muslim community.
Hmm.
So I do think they do come in this opportunistic asshole
What?
category because
How? All Muslims?
no, not all Muslims, but the Muslim right wing ones. Because
There is no
like
Muslim
for
right wing.
example, when
Right wing has to do with political power, and they are not in power. If
like
we had a
oh,
government where the traditionalist side was Islamic in nature, like it is in Saudi Arabia or some other Islamic majority country, then there would be a Muslim majority, and it would be a Muslim right wing. We don't have a Muslim right wing. We only have a Hindu right wing.
no, I mean, like how I see this is I see it as a right wing divided based on religions. So like in a Hindu majority country, the Hindu right wing would be like more powerful, and like the Muslim right wing would be a minority, but they would still be in power in some small areas like
Do you know what right
Kashmir or
wing
something.
means?
right wing is a like conservative, uh, like any
Yeah,
group
so I think
party which is a conservative group.
I might be botching this up royally, but the term dates back to which side people sat on. So on the left,
France,
people, yeah, on the left sat progressive people who were critical of the monarchy.
revolutionists.
On the right sat people who were loyalists of the monarchy. So the right is traditionally an equal amount of an equal, of the populace, and it tends to be loyalists towards some kind of traditional view of the nation. The traditional view of India has never been Islamic. The traditionalist view of India has never been Islamic. It has been composite. And the Hindu right wing, the Hindutva right wing is called right wing because it imagines itself as the representative of the traditional view of India according to their own opinion. We don't have an Islamic right wing in India. Just because people are religious does not mean they're right wing. You can call them conservative with a small c, but not a conservative with a capital C.
Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
like
They're
the
not powerful enough.
conservative Muslims,
Yeah.
yeah. They're obviously not powerful enough. Okay, so that was not my point. Like, I consider them to be in this opportunistic asshole category because, like, for example, when this Iranian hijab protests and the protests against the
Yeah. Yeah.
dictator, this thing was
Yeah.
happening. Like, a lot of Muslims, and at least on Instagram, I saw a lot of them supporting the Iranian government and
Oh, yeah, you'll
like,
find assholes like that everywhere. But for the most part, on
uh,
the liberal side, the Muslims who found supporting the women of Iran, they were supporting them for the
hmm,
same reason as they support the ones who want to wear the hijab in India. Because this is beyond
yeah,
the hijab. This is about a woman's right to choose what she wants to wear. In India, some people want to wear the hijab. In Iran,
yeah,
some people don't want to wear the hijab. The
freedom
point
of,
is
yeah,
that
basically.
the freedom of, what's the phrase? My body, my choice. That's the phrase that was being used.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some assholes
Mm-hmm.
will always be there. I get those. When Taliban was taken over by Taliban, when Afghanistan was taken over by the Taliban, I wrote a very clear post ki I am old enough to remember what they did to Afghanistan the last time they were in power. If any of you support the Taliban, unfollow me right now. And I got so many angry messages from mostly 17-year-old Muslim boys. Hey, you don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Okay, Islam is the something something something. And I was like, fuck off. मुझे ये
Yeah,
बकवास नहीं
that's
सुननी है. If you are against Hindutva oppression in India, you cannot be pro Taliban oppression in Afghanistan because the fight is against oppression. It's not against any particular religion or way of life.
yes, exactly. Like, I think we need to like filter out these kind of people like regularly because
I do,
when
I
we
do, I do.
mostly talk
But for the
about,
most part, I'll tell you
uh,
something. I'm a content creator. I write about this stuff all the time. For the most part, in India, I don't even have to worry about the Muslims as far as getting threats and stuff is concerned. Mostly, what I get is from the Hindutva quarters. Sure, I get a couple of nut
yeah.
jobs. I get a couple of nut job Sikhs, Muslims, sometimes even from other communities, but they're a very small group. Mostly, I get threats and stuff from the Hindutva quarters.
Yeah, I know, but like once in 20 posts or something, like something criticizing this Islamic conservative this thing would be like, I think that would be good instead of just doing the Hindu this thing criticism.
What? What? Can you repeat that?
Like, like, like okay, so once in 20 posts or something, it would be good to filter out these kind of people by posting something against the radical Muslims or something like that.
I do, but it almost gets lost. पता है मेरा सबसे बड़ा problem क्या है? I get comments like इस्लाम को कुछ क्यों नहीं बोलते? And I was like, okay.
हाँ
And I'll make a post about Islam. उसके नीचे पता है क्या comment आता है?
हाँ, okay, yeah, that is also
उसके
a
नीचे
problem,
कमेंट
but
आता है
then
इस्लाम को कुछ क्यों नहीं बोलते? क्योंकि मैं इस्लाम के बारे में बात कर रहा होता हूँ, तो भी इन उल्लू के पट्टों की समझ में नहीं आता कि मैं इस्लाम के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ.
हाँ,
They are obsessed.
yeah,
They don't want equal treatment. By the way, there should not even
what
be equal
about
treatment. They're not interested in equal treatment. They want only content against Islam. So ये लोग आलसी हैं
yeah,
जो अपने अकाउंट पे बैठेंगे, कुछ करेंगे धरेंगे नहीं, किसी के खिलाफ कुछ बोलने की हिम्मत नहीं है. पर दूसरों को जाके बताएंगे इसको बोलो उसको बोलो, जैसे कि वो मुझे पैसे दे रहे हैं लिखने के लिए। मैं
Yeah.
एक एथीस्ट हूँ। व्हेन आई क्रिटिसाइज रिलीजन इट अप्लाइज टू ऑल रिलीजन्स, इट गोज विदाउट सेइंग। बट ये जो नौटंकी करते हैं ना कि अ, मैंने कभी तुमको इस्लाम के बारे में कुछ बोलते हुए नहीं देखा, भाई वो तेरा प्रॉब्लम है, मेरा प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। मेरे यूट्यूब चैनल पे जाके
तू
देख,
नहीं
मैंने
था, हाँ।
जितनी बार भी गॉड या गॉड के कॉन्सेप्ट को क्रिटिसाइज किया है, at least 50% of the time it is about the Abrahamic concept, at least 50% of the time. But they're too stupid to know it, because they don't know about their own religion, they don't know about Abrahamic religions, they don't know anything. They have only memorized one phrase, which is Islam ko kyun nahi bolte. So even when I
हाँ,
do it, they are not able to see it.
हाँ. Also one thing, like completely unrelated, in South India, like from where I am,
Hmm.
we follow Madhva philosophy, which is pretty Abrahamic. So,
What philosophy?
like Madhvacharya, Shankara,
Madhav.
Madhva.
Okay, Madhavacharya. Yeah, yeah.
Acha, okay.
Hmm.
So we call it Madhvacharya here. So his
I don't know
philosophy
anyone
is
who calls it
basically,
Madhavacharya. Are you sure you're from the south?
yeah. I mean, like in at least in Karnataka, we write it
Okay.
Madhva only. Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So
I was pulling a leg.
so okay. So it's just basically like it is pretty Abrahamic. We have to believe in a God, like all powerful God, and something like that, something similar to that. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to point that out.
Cool. Yeah, there is
Okay.
plenty of
Also,
theism in Hinduism.
also last one, last point.
Hmm.
So how do you view this? There was some Aam Aadmi Party leader who converted, who took part in a mass conversion from Hinduism to Buddhism, I guess.
Hmm.
So how do you view this? Do you like? Would you still have the same views if it was from Buddhism to, like, from Islam to Hinduism by a BJP leader?
The people who converted had a reason to convert, and that was that they felt that they were not being treated like human beings in the religion of their birth, which was Hinduism, and they made the decision to convert to Buddhism. If someone like we spoke about
But
this
then,
couple of episodes ago, someone said it's irrational to follow religion, and I was like, I don't think they made this decision on the basis of rationality. I think they made this decision
yeah,
because of
survival.
discriminatory practices, right?
हाँ,
So
हाँ.
it seems very rational to me that someone would want to escape discrimination. The fact that they chose to do it by converting to Buddhism is their choice. Who am I to stop them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like the presence of a party leader matters, right? Like
Yeah, and he was forced to. He was
they,
he did resign from his ministerial position, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That,
yeah.
okay, so okay, that's it. That's it.
Great.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Vimoh.
Thanks, Name
Good
Kumar.
night.
Bye bye. Now I have. Oh, Humanist Vishal has come back. Hold on. मेरे पास अभी तीन लोग हैं. Humanist Vishal is the last one. First is Rakshit. Hi, Rakshit.
Hey, hi Vimoh.
Hi.
So, Vimoh, actually, I had two questions, and one of them is pretty off from all the discussion we were having with the past few callers. I mean, it's more on the side of free will. So, if you're up to take a question
More on
on
the
that,
side of
free will.
free will. Okay, go on.
So, the thing is basically it looks at it from the angle of these physical laws, these chemical law, chemistry, and biological laws. And the
Hmm.
idea is we don't know what happened before the Big Bang, but
Hmm.
let's just say once the Big Bang happened, all these laws were defined at the very same moment, right? Let's just say the laws of gravity or the way anything would interact in the universe, they were fixed as soon as the Big Bang happened.
Okay.
All right. And now, since these laws are fixed and the initial condition of Big Bang, whatever it would be, right? We don't know what it was, but it was a fixed condition that was there. And
Hmm.
post that, all these laws have been fixed. So that means essentially, if I talk about, let's just say, even the macroscopic things, or even going to the level of atoms, the way they would interact with each other, that was fixed right at that moment because the laws were fixed,
Okay.
right? And now you follow this through the whole thing
You're
that has
talking
happened with
about
the
super determinism.
I mean, something like, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
super determinism, right? I mean, for some, let's just say a religious person would put it from the perspective of a prime mover for setting up this condition and laws, right? But I'm not going in that direction, but rather, whatsoever happened, these laws and these things were fixed. And now, since these things were fixed, as it says in super determinism, sorry,
Determinism.
yeah. So, then that means essentially anything that happens after that is fixed by those laws,
Hmm.
right? And that goes forward to, let's just say, the creation of organic life. That goes
Hmm.
because for matter to interact to become water was fixed. When that would become
Hmm.
water, when that water would travel from one place to another,
I
all
got your
those
point.
things,
Got your point. Get to the
right?
point.
Right. So
Yeah.
the point is, so I think that is not the case. I mean, I think there was somewhere between organic life,
Hmm.
where organic life was developed, and organic life developed consciousness along the way, which essentially is the ability to make a choice and create that. I wouldn't call it randomness in the universe, but just have your own will, is what I want to say, to do things, right? Although I want to believe this thing, but I don't have like solid grounds on this thing. I just feel like something happened between that point. We don't know what was, but something like this would have happened, and that would have given us consciousness, which gives us the uh, ability to create, make our own choices, and we are not just governed by those laws, thinking what we are
Rakshit,
supposed to think.
Rakshit,
Yeah.
Rakshit, I'll save you some time and I'll tell you this very clearly. Even I have not made up my mind about this.
Okay.
So I have heard about, here's my position. I have heard about super determinism. I
Mm-hmm.
have heard that free will actually does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to reconcile it. And
Mm-hmm.
I am still studying about it. I've been saying this for a year. I have not spent much time studying it. But when
Okay.
I have a clear opinion about this, maybe we can
Mm-hmm.
revisit this conversation. But right now, my position is that it seems like physicists agree that free
Mm-hmm.
will is impossible.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's what I mean. That's one thing, and the other thing, that's more to the context of things we were talking about. That's the two questions I had. The
Hmm.
second one was from the point of religion. For example,
Hmm.
I would call myself a staunch atheist,
Hmm.
probably someone like that, right? And somewhere down the line, I thought about this point that, I don't need to convince my parents or make them understand that, let's just say, there is no god, or you don't have to go through all these customs and whatever things you're going through in your life on a daily basis. I sort of agreed that I have to let them live the way they want to live, right? If that was
Hmm.
make them happy and they are not interfering with the way I am living, who am I to stop them to do whatever they want to do, right? But somewhere down the line, like later years in my life, I thought, if I truly believe that religion is something which is dangerous, right,
Hmm.
at this point to the society, right,
Hmm.
if I truly believe that I have to sort of put effort to stop them, or sort of pull them out of this thing, because it would be similar to having some disease. I mean, like, for example, COVID, right? If I know they are not going to wear mask and go outside, there's the possibility for them to catch COVID. I would have to be sort of try to stop them if they want to, right? The same thing they would
So
do with me.
I don't think it is necessary to think of religion as a disease because that is
Right.
problematic on multiple levels.
Right.
People don't choose to get diseases. People get
Agreed.
diseases without
Agreed.
wanting it, right?
Right.
So what you're trying to say is that you're trying to save people from religion. And I would say ki unless we have established that you have some really solid grounds to think that
Mm-hmm.
your what you have to offer them is going to
Mm-hmm.
better their lives,
All right.
maybe think twice about doing it. Because as I was talking about yesterday, many
Mm-hmm.
people are religious for many different reasons. If
True.
someone's religious beliefs are causing them to act in ways that are damaging to them and to the
Mm-hmm.
people around them, then it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense to interfere and interject and point out that this is wrong. If you
Right.
want to just generally spread awareness and let people
Mm-hmm.
make their own conclusions, it's like
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do. I don't go to people
Right.
and tell them religion is wrong. I
True.
have a place where I make content. I know there
Mm-hmm.
are people out there who are having doubts. If
Mm-hmm.
they ever want to, they can come
Mm-hmm.
and there will be a place here for them.
Right.
But I don't think we should reach out and tell people that,
Right.
religion is a disease or you know any
Something
something
that's negative.
similarly
Yeah. Got it.
problematic.
Got it.
I
True.
think that there are atheists who have
Mm-hmm.
made it their focus to focus on political bad political behavior that emerges from religious motivations,
Right.
and I think that is a great thing. It's also
Mm-hmm.
something I do. But
Mm-hmm.
I think focusing on religion should be conditional to a great extent because not everyone
Makes
engages with
sense.
religion in the
Mm-hmm.
same way. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing to look from a lens, right? I mean, the way they are
Hmm.
looking at religion. All right, yeah. I mean, that's the, that's all I had as this first time on your stream. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks,
Yeah,
Rakshit, and welcome. Welcome.
yeah. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, so thank you, Jeevraj Meria, for the 29 rupees super sticker. थैंक यू ह्यूमनिस्ट विशाल, आप हैं क्यों में हैं, अभी आपका नंबर आएगा इस कॉलर के बाद, फॉर द 40 रुपीज सुपर स्टिकर. I would just like to answer Nazneen on this. Nazneen said, hey Vimo, are you keeping up with your get up at 4 a.m. and right plan? It was a get up at 5 a.m. and right plan. I'm still getting up at 5 regularly, and I'm not writing in the morning. I'm writing between 11:30 and 12:30 along with another friend of mine. So the same amount of writing is happening. It's just not happening in the morning. But I've started enjoying getting up in the morning, so I've not stopped doing that. So I still wake up at 5. I mean, अलार्म 5 बजे का लगाता हूँ, उठते उठते 5:15, 5:20 हो जाता है, बट 5:30 से पहले डेफिनेटली उठ जाता हूँ, एंड इट्स अ ग्रेट फीलिंग टू वेक अप. थैंक्स फॉर आस्किंग, नाजनीन. Bye, Taranga. Sorry, I could not look at a lot of comments. But yeah, let me take Shiroyasha Adhyayan on. Hi, Shiroyasha.
Hi, Vimoh. How are you?
Good, good. What's up?
Yeah, I'm doing good too. So actually, I got
What was
introduced to
that?
your channel. Might be some crackers first thing.
Acha, acha, acha. Okay.
Yeah. So I got introduced to your channel through Science is Dope, and like I'm glad I came back to
Okay.
your channel some way because like it doesn't have that much of following that I would expect,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure why is that, but I hope like more and more people join your cause.
Yeah.
So I was watching a video of yours recently regarding where you put out a point like if the Earth was to be destroyed and thousands of years later you discover like a fictional book, you would assume like if it contains the references to real places, you would be foolish to assume that the entirety of it is fact.
Yeah. This was a video
So
called Mythology is Not History.
correct.
Yeah.
So my question regarding that is for instance, Ramayana or
Hmm.
maybe Krishna. So there was a movie that came back recently called Kartikeya, where they're basically claiming that Krishna was like a real person and like he was an archaeologist and a musician and what all and what not. Plus,
Hmm.
the only I think the shred of proof that they give is that the remains of Dwarka have been discovered. So
Okay.
the entirety of it must be true. So my question to you is like, what's your take on all this? And like, if it is really a myth, like, then how did like so many people come to believe this myth across the country and even in Indonesia and places like Bali, you find temples. Like, what is the
Stories
timeline do
travel,
you
right?
think that this actually happened?
I I
But like, what
I
they
can't
made
give you
you.
accurate historical timelines just off the top of my head, but I think one of the greatest things that people forget to note about the ancient world is that people still traveled. People still took roads, took long journeys across
Mhm,
great distances, went to Greece, went to China. Chinese stories are found in India. Chinese stories are found in Arabian Nights. Aladdin and the Jadui Chirag, that story is
mhm.
actually a Chinese folk tale. It found its way to Arabian
I see.
Nights. Similarly, there have been statues found in ancient Greece that seem to have something to do with India. And there have been recorded instances of the Greeks coming to India, bringing their stories and their knowledge about architecture to India, and influences of it can be found in Indian temple architecture from that time. So
And I
these things are
believe
not.
the astrology as well, right? Right?
Yeah,
Some
sure. I
people
mean,
claim that.
uh, people, no, astrology is kind of something that emerged in multiple places at once. There was a time,
Okay.
like everyone has the stars, right? Everyone can look up, and everyone knows
Hmm.
that the position of the stars has something to do with my fate, because when stars are there, it rains. When stars are here, it's really
Hmm.
hot. When stars are here, it starts snowing and the trees all go down, and I have difficulty finding food. So it is not a much of a stretch to imagine that people thought that the stars were literally a place where they could read their fate, and that's how astrology may have evolved. So in India, it happened for a different reason, of a different kind of stuff. In the West, it happened in a slightly different kind of stuff. And in addition to that, there still may be interactions which fed both of these things. Hey, you guys are looking at the stars, we also do it, this is how we do it. So something like that may have happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, I was more interested in knowing that those exact timelines, like because we have like a parallel history going on with the mythology kind of a thing. Because on one side we have like those 4,500 BC, and we have those Indus Valley civilizations, and then we come to like whatever we know, what is documented, found by archaeologists, and then we have like a parallel history running where these Hindutva gang basically claims that our Sanatan Dharma dates back to millennia. So,
Hmm.
like, what do you think, like, regarding the timelines? Yeah, you told that you're not exactly sure about it, but if you had
Yeah.
to take a, like,
I
how
think there is
old are
some.
our
I think
scary stories?
I think there is some general consensus about the age of things in the works of world historians. And if you read any prominent historian, you'll come to some conclusion about when, what happened when, right? Beyond that, if you want to get granular, you can discard some things right off the top of your, you know, you can discard Dayanand Saraswati saying that human beings existed on Earth billions of years ago, right?
Mhm.
That's just plain impossible, because anatomically modern human beings have existed for, you know, less than a million years. So
Yeah,
some things are easy to discard, some things are hard to discard, some things are hard to judge. uh, when someone tells me that flying ships were in the sky and people were, you know, the ships used to be fueled by mercury, I have no reason to think that that is the case, because if that was the case, mercury could have been used as a fuel today, right? But we don't have
agreed.
that. Then there is some dhandali happening, which is that a lot of stuff that is called really ancient is actually not that ancient. Like stuff like Vedic math, it's not as old as the
Yep,
Vedas. It's actually, you know, recorded history में किसी ने बनाया है, बना के एक किताब बना के छाप दिया,
exactly. Yeah, science has
उसके ऊपर
though
वैदिक
made a
मैथ लिख
great
दिया.
video on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I would say archaeologically, historically, there is a general consensus that we should go by, and anything that disagrees with it can be rejected with varying amounts of confidence. Some things you can reject super confidently. ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता. Some things you'll be like, I don't
agreed.
know, man. It seems to have happened in the same place, but there is no evidence. So I'll reserve my judgment. So that's where I am.
But like to conclude on this, like since you have researched Hindu mythology a lot, like where do you place these stories, the origin of these stories, like these Mahabharata and Ramayana?
I am
Like
personally of the
I
opinion
I
that
don't think that they're at least like they're definitely not originating at least back when Indus Valley civilization was happening. It definitely happened sometime
after that.
during our Chola dynasty
Yeah,
or
I
sometime
agree. Yeah, same
and
here.
after Buddhism.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm not exactly sure.
Sangam literature, around the time that Sangam literature happened, I think that was the great literary upheaval in the Indian subcontinent, and that is when most of these must have emerged either spontaneously or in response to each other.
Yep, and like within the religion as well, there are like multiple sects who claim superiority. Like the Shaivites claim
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Shiva is superior, Vaishnavas claim that Vishnu is superior. So that gives a lot of contradiction.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
It also creates a very fertile place for imagination to play, right? हमारा देवता तुम्हारे
Yeah,
देवता से अच्छा है, कैसे पता? ये देख, I wrote a story about it. So that's how a
agreed.
lot of it comes into being also.
Cool, cool, cool. Makes sense. Just one final comment. So I actually was going through a profile randomly. So I like saw you have worked on something called Ravanayanam.
Ravanayan. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you want to like talk about it because I couldn't find much about it. Like, what was it
You can
exactly?
go to the publisher's website and buy it. It's the website is holycow.in.
Okay.
It's a 10 issue comic book series based on the Ramayana, and it tells
Oh,
the
so it's a
story from
comic.
a, yeah, graphic novel series.
Oh, okay, okay.
It tells the story from a Ravan's point of view. I wrote it a long time ago. It's not my best work, but if you want to, you can buy it. Holycow.in.
So, like, have you kept the events exactly the same?
No, it's fantasy. It's fantasy.
Oh, so you have actually completely turned around
Yeah.
everything. Like, the ending is also
No, not
different?
completely turned around. No, ending is same. We have not messed with the Ramayana at all, but there are gaps in the story, right? Like when Ram was doing this, what was Ravan up to, right?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
something
So
like
I've used
the
those gaps to
RR,
create an alternative story. Yes.
something like what Rajamouli did with RRR, if you're aware.
I don't know. Nothing
He
so
basically
successful.
filled in.
Nothing so successful.
That's no, that's fine. I'll look into it. Yeah, thanks,
Great.
Vimoh. That's
Great.
all I have.
Thanks, man. Thank you, Shiro
Good
Yashar.
night.
Good night. And lastly, but not leastly, humanist Vishal.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
सॉरी,
Can you hear me,
आई
Vimoh?
कैन
Am I
हियर यू
audible?
सर। आपको बहुत देर
Okay.
वेट कराया, सॉरी अबाउट दैट, गो ऑन।
अरे कोई नहीं यार, कोई नहीं यार। वैसे भी मैं आपका फैन हूँ, आपके वीडियोस देखता हूँ, काफी अच्छा लगता है। एंड
थैंक यू।
आई थिंक यू, आपको याद होगा, वी हैव मेट वंस इन ह्यूमन विद साइंस। वी आर हैविंग a discussion on atheist day, and you were the part of that panel.
हम्म, कैन यू रिपीट योर क्वेश्चन?
आई एम सेइंग दैट कि एटीज डे जब चल रहा था, तो मैं भी क्या कहते हैं आपको, तभी तब मतलब पहला हम लोग का जो इंटरेक्शन था वो उन्हीं के चैनल पे, ह्यूमन विद साइंस के चैनल पे,
हम्म,
अगर आपको याद होगा।
हाँ याद है।
ओके, तो सर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कि मैं फर्स्ट टाइम आपके चैनल पे आया हूँ, बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं आपके वीडियोस, सब काफ़ी लॉजिकल बात करते हैं। सर इफ़ यू डोंट माइंड, कैन आई नो योर एज, इफ़ यू डोंट माइंड?
आई विल बी 40 years old in January.
ओह, ओके ओके। जनवरी, मेरा भी बर्थडे जनवरी में ही होता है, बट मैंने
अच्छा,
40 आने बहुत टाइम। ओके ओके, आई एम
अच्छा।
कमिंग टू माय पॉइंट।
हाउ ओल्ड आर
सो
यू?
विमो, आई एम बिटवीन 30 to 35।
अच्छा, ओके, गो ऑन।
30 का हो जाऊंगा जनवरी में।
अच्छा, कूल, ग्रेट।
ओके। सो विमो, आई एम कमिंग टू माय पॉइंट कि विमो, एज यू नो दैट, कुछ आप देखो जो इंडिया में आप जानते ही हैं, मतलब कुछ सो कॉल्ड यूट्यूब चैनल्स हैं
हम्म,
जो कि रिलीजन के थ्रू कुछ, मतलब रिलीजन, अब साइंस जो मॉडर्न साइंस है उसको रिलीजन में ठूस के, मतलब वो ऐसे प्रमोट करते हैं, बुलशिट प्रमोट करते हैं। और दूसरा क्या कहते हैं, जो उसके नीचे आप कमेंट्स देखेंगे, व्यूअर्स देखेंगे, they get proud on it. Oh, we were so civilized on ancient time. We were so civilized. We were having so technical. We were so
हम्म,
philosophical, so intellectual.
हम्म,
And what they're spreading, nothing but bullshit. They have no
हम्म।
logic. They have no sense that what they are saying, what they are promoting. So, so Vimum, how can we rescue our people from this trap? And I call it, this is the dark era of this YouTube world,
ओके,
because it's because this is harming our youth's rationality of current
I think the best
generations.
way to resist it, uh, see, I don't think it's harming anyone's rationality. I think it is feeding majoritarian political impulses. Rational सब होते हैं। अभी कोई अगर बहुत ज़्यादा
Hmm.
मतलब बोले हाँ हमारी संस्कृति बहुत महान थी, हम लोग आकाश में उड़ते थे, पानी के अंदर तैरते थे वगैरह वगैरह। अगर कोई दूसरे धर्म का आदमी आके वही सब बोलेगा ना, वो लोग इंस्टेंटली रैशनल हो जाएंगे, अरे क्या बात कर रहे हैं, ये थोड़ी हो सकता है। सो ये जो चीज़ें लोग विश्वास करते हैं ना, ये इर्राशनैलिटी की वजह से नहीं होती है, ये होती हैं कल्चरल प्राइड की वजह से। कल्चरल प्राइड का इस्तेमाल करते हैं पॉलिटिशियन अपना उल्लू सीधा करने के लिए और ऑफिस में बने रहने के लिए। सो हमें पहले तो समझना होगा कि द प्रॉब्लम इज नॉट इर्राशनैलिटी। इर्राशनैलिटी इज बीइंग यूज्ड बाय सर्टेन पीपल। देन वी हैव टू लुक
Hmm.
एट कि जो यूज़ कर रहे हैं वो कैसे यूज़ कर रहे हैं, और फिर उनके उस
Okay.
मेथड के अगेंस्ट में हमें एक काउंटर नैरेटिव जो कि सच पे बेस्ड है वो बनाना होगा। जो कि आप जिन यूट्यूबर्स की बात कर रहे हैं उनके अलावा दूसरे यूट्यूबर्स हैं। कुछ यूट्यूबर्स ऐसे हैं जो कि विश्वास भी नहीं करते इन चीज़ों पर। मतलब मैं कम से कम एक
but
को
they are
जानता हूँ।
very but
या
they are very
दे आर
low
फूलिंग देयर
numbers
दे आर
if you
फूलिंग देयर
compare
फैन्स।
compare to
या दे आर फूलिंग देयर
नहीं आप
फैन्स।
जिन
वो 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 वीडियो बनाएँगे जादू के बारे में, ब्लैक मैजिक के बारे में, एंशिएंट साइंस के बारे में, जब दे डोंट बिलीव एनी ऑफ इट। दे आर ओनली डूइंग इट बिकॉज़ दे नो दैट देयर फैन्स आर इंटरेस्टेड इन इट। इन अ वे दे आर फूलिंग देयर फैन्स। सो हमें उनके जो स्वार्थी लोग हैं, जिन ये सब पॉलिटिकल मोटिवेशन में जाता है बाय द वे। किसी कंटेंट क्रिएटर ने रियलाइज़ किया कि मैं इस पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के एजेंडा को प्रमोट करूँगा तो मेरे को बहुत सारे फैन मिलेंगे, क्योंकि बहुत से लोग उनसे इन्फ्लुएंस्ड हैं। तो वो बनाने लगता है। वो विश्वास नहीं करता। पर दिस इज़ पॉलिटिकल
हम्म।
इन्फ्लुएंस। हमको पॉलिटिकल इन्फ्लुएंस को समझना पड़ेगा। इर्रेशनैलिटी अपने आप सीधी हो जाएगी।
यस, वेरी राइट। एंड अभी जो एक फनी जो चलता है दिवाली के टाइम पे, आप ये देखो कि ये
हुँ,
कुछ सो कॉल नेशनलिस्ट या सो कॉल जो हिंदुत्व है, पहले मैं आपको हिंदुत्व बताऊं क्या, अगर मैं, इफ आई यूज सम हार्श वर्ड, देन हिंदुत्व इज नथिंग बट द एशियन वर्जन ऑफ एब्राहिमिक कॉन्सेप्ट।
हुँ।
एम आई रॉन्ग?
गो ऑन, गो ऑन।
दिस हिंदुत्व इज एशियन वर्जन ऑफ एब्राहिमिक कॉन्सेप्ट। There is no difference, 100% similarities है।
I guess you could say that if you look at certain things that are common between the two, but I think there are certain differences also. I would not call it an Asian version of Abrahamic religions. I would call it an Asian version of the, you know, the German stuff that was happening in the World War, before the World War, that
Yes,
caused the World War. Yeah, I don't want to use the word because
yes.
YouTube चैनल पे हो सकता है कोई restriction आ जाए, but you get my point. जो चड्डी गैंग थी जर्मनी
ओके।
की, उससे ज़्यादा समानता है इसकी.
बेलीला को पूरा कॉपी कर लिया ये आरएसएस ने। You know about
हाँ,
Dalila? The
हाँ.
Balila was the youth Mussolini's youth, and where
हुँ,
kids were trained to spread hatred on against minorities.
हुँ.
है ना? तो यही सब है। तो वेमो बस मेरा यही पॉइंट था। और एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन और आपसे पूछूंगा, हाउ डू यू सी बुद्धिज्म in comparing to all other religions? Because I think Buddhism is the one in which Buddha openly said that don't even believe me. None of the prophet, none of any religious philosopher said before Buddha or after Buddha that don't believe me if my views are if my views you seems to be illogical.
I
I
think of
think.
Buddhism as a religion. And my problem with religions,
Mhm.
see, here's the thing about religions. बहुत से लोग फोकस करते हैं इस बात पे कि इस रिलीजन में कुछ गलत लिखा हुआ है. मुझे रिलीजन्स
Mhm.
इन जनरल से प्रॉब्लम ये है कि कोई रिलीजन अगर दुनिया का सबसे अच्छा रिलीजन भी है ना, लोग उसको खा जाएँगे, लोग उसको करप्ट कर देंगे, लोग उसको बर्बाद कर देंगे, लोग उसका इस्तेमाल एक-दूसरे को मारने के लिए करेंगे. Now, Buddhism is new, Buddhism is not powerful, Buddhism has provided a refuge for people who want to leave caste, and in
Mhm.
that, it works. But in principle, I'm against the idea of people having a religion or needing a religion. So that is my position
Okay.
on that.
Okay. Okay. ओके, थैंक यू वेमो। अभी तो यही सब
Thank you.
सवाल है। अब ज़्यादा मैं लाइव में आता हूँ तो इतने सवाल भी नहीं आ पाते हैं। नेक्स्ट टाइम फिर
नहीं, नहीं,
लाइव
कोई
में
बात नहीं,
टाइम मिलेगा
बिल्कुल
तो मैं
दोबारा आइए, जब भी
आपसे
बात करनी हो
जुड़ूंगा,
दोबारा आइए.
तो फिर और बातें करेंगे। बहुत अच्छा लगता है, आपके वीडियोस बहुत मुझे पसंद है। मैं
Thank you,
सिर्फ
Vishal ji.
हार्टली बता
Thank
रहा हूँ।
you,
ओके
thank
सर,
you.
थैंक यू
And
एंड कीप
thank you for the
कीप कीप
contribution also.
ओके, ओके, आई विल कंटिन्यू इन फ्यूचर एज वेल।
जी, जी,
ओके।
thank
और
you.
आप ऐसे अपना काम कंटिन्यू करते रहिए। और अच्छा लगता है, मतलब जैसे आप जैसे लोग मतलब यूट्यूब के थ्रू मतलब निकल के कुछ रैशनैलिटी स्प्रेड कर रहे हैं। शायद हमें कुछ फ्यूचर में, मतलब मैं ये तो नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि अभी कल दिख जाएगा, लेकिन फ्यूचर में शायद कुछ चेंज मिल जाए, जो इस
हो सकता है. That's the hope.
इग्नोरेंट
That's the hope.
डॉग, जो इस रिलीजियस डॉगमा है या जो इग्नोरेंट है, इससे शायद कुछ निकल के कुछ रैशनल कुछ बातें करें, कुछ जो लोगों को लॉजिकल लगे।
होप सो,
आई
लेट्स होप.
लेट्स
द गोल इज टू, मैं कोशिश करता हूँ मैं इस जगह को एक ऐसी जगह बनाने की जहाँ पे लोग आ सकें और बात कर सकें. क्योंकि अगर बातचीत नहीं होगी, जैसे ह्यूमन विद साइंस ने आज कहा, अगर बातचीत नहीं होगी तो हम आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएंगे. और
यस
कुछ चीज़ों के ऊपर मैं बातचीत,
एंड
कुछ चीज़ों के ऊपर मैं बातचीत नहीं करूँगा. जैसे कोई अगर आके बोलेगा कि जेनोसाइड अच्छा है या बुरा है, तो ऑब्वियसली बुरा है. ठीक है, उसके ऊपर बातचीत नहीं होगी.
यस
पर कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें जिसके बारे में कन्फ्यूजन है और क्लैरिटी आ सकती है, उसके बारे में डेफिनेटली बात करेंगे. बट थैंक यू विशाल जी,
ओके,
थैंक यू.
ओके, थैंक यू विमो।
बाय बाय. So that was the last caller of today. I had to remove a couple of people because honestly I don't have time anymore people. It's 2 hours and 18 minutes. इतना लंबा आज तक शायद नहीं हुआ है शायद एक बार हुआ है. एक पूरी पिक्चर का लेंथ है ये, ठीक है? हॉलीवुड वाले इस टाइम में 2 पिक्चर बना चुके होते हैं. अ यहाँ कोई जेनोसाइड वगैरह कर रहा था, उसको मैंने टाइम आउट कर दिया है. तुम लोग एक बहुत अच्छे टॉपिक को रेज़ किए हो एक्चुअली, खरगे और थरूर के बारे में, जिसके बारे में मेरे पास अब बोलने को टाइम नहीं है, पर मैं बोलना चाहता था. सो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट इट इन द नेक्स्ट एपिसोड इफ पीपल वांट टू. आज है सैटरडे अक्टूबर 22 और ये लाइव स्ट्रीम अब ख़त्म होने वाली है क्योंकि टाइम हो गया है 2 घंटे 18 मिनट्स. ये शो वेडनेसडे रात के 9:30 बजे और सैटरडे रात के 9:30 बजे होता है. You can become a member, send a super chat, or you can support it on Patreon at patreon.com/Vimoh. You can become a monthly member or an annual member. Both help. But if you don't want to commit to a schedule, you can simply go to my blog at vimoh.stck.me and click the support button to make a one-time contribution of any amount of your choice. It really helps. I'm a full-time content creator, and whatever contributions you make helps me buy books, buy software, pay my bills, eat food, live, basically. So it's always appreciated. Vimoh.stck.me. Click the support button for a one-time payment. If you want to send me money even more directly, you can just UPI it to me, Vimoh@UPI. And if you want to buy t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, you can visit kadakmerch.com/VimohLive. That's kadakmerch.com/VIMOHLIVE. If you want to listen to this podcast as audio, you can do so at www.vimoh.in. And that's where you'll find all the audio episodes and links to all the audio apps where the podcast is available. And with that, we reach the end of today's यहाँ पे चैट में लोग क्या क्या अच्छा नेवर माइंड कमेंट्स में कुछ है क्या और ये क्या था yeah, so that's it for today, and I'll see you all on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so, so that you get notified whenever I come live next. Until next time, I hope you all live up. I hope you are safe and your loved ones are okay. Thank you for joining. Good night.